it was dope going out there this weekend.
Yeah.
A lot of cool networking. Like I could see like more of like how to really build the skill.
Yeah.
Like instead of going and trying to take a picture with like I took a picture with Mosey and Sam because I thought it would be good branding for like trade launch. Like oh look, I'm with Mosey, all this. But for Waller, I didn't want to ask to take a picture because I don't want to change the frame too much.
Yeah.
You know, and it's actually funny. He just
on Michael Sartain.
He just said that on a podcast, and I was so happy. When I heard that, I was like, oh fucking thank God.
What did he say?
He's like when guys go to network, they try, like he said, Justin says when he was up with billionaires on a yacht or whatever, like he doesn't ask for a photo. He's like never. He's like, you want to remind them of like their high school friend, like where you're kind of chirping them, you're having fun, you're not even talking about business, and business will come from that. But he's like, yeah, he never asked for a photo. Usually he'll create the environment that a photo will come, and usually it's the other guy actually asking him. So it's just seeing that from the outside. I'm glad I made certain decisions, so I wasn't too much like, yo, I'm the biggest
Before
fan.
that, what was your reason for not asking a photo? Like your
same kind of thing. Like everyone else asked for a photo. And I've already watched a lot of Waller stuff, and actually Ammar sent me stuff before I went out of like how to network with high net worth guys. And there was a lot of that. He's like, you don't want to change the frame too much. He's like, shake their hand, look them in the eye, show them respect, but like also be that guy that they're kind of like, why is he not like? And he's like the same with dating too, same with girls. You go up with a girl and you're hitting on her right away, trying to get her number, like you just instantly put in a different category. Then the one almost treats you like a sister, kind of. It's like joking with her, like chirping with her. Yeah. And she's kind of like, why is he not hitting on me? And then it changes the frame.
Yeah. In a weird way, it's like when you ask for a photo, he knows automatically you're trying to leverage yourself.
Yeah.
So it's like that's like the first note that like you're receiving.
You see him as like something. It's like, oh, can I get your photo, please? And you do a photo, and after like, thanks, man.
And then what? Yeah.
And then it's a frame destroyed. For Mosey though, it's like I'm not gonna be friends with him. Like I don't know. We're just so whatever. Maybe I will be. I don't want to write that off, but I don't even think he has friends. Like,
but then no, he has like one
friend, and that's like his wife.
Yeah.
How Sam Ovens, bro.
How so?
How so? That picture that you posted of him, I was like, yo, this guy looks a little off.
Like just very socially, like, but he also is a tech guy. Like he's
very introverted. He's that personality.
Man, and like he was like, so I sat down for like 3 days to solve this problem of like retention in groups, and I realized we're not posting enough GIFs. And it was like his strategic thinking going for like days of like trying to figure out problems. It's GIFs, you know? Yeah. He's just a strange character. He's super cool. I just couldn't really connect with him at all. Like I tried talking to him. It was just the driest, like he's like looking at me like I was, I don't know.
Did you both?
He probably gets that so much.
Did you have that feeling when you're at your event, finding people that were just like kind of off, that you're like, oh, I didn't expect you to be that person?
When I was at Squad Up Summit, I was mainly meeting other members and other real estate investors. There were people that are just like kind of awkward, that is hard to have a conversation with. But I felt the same way where Jay Waller was saying, just treat them like a normal person. Like if I'm just in the environment and I'm relaxed and I'm comfortable in my skin and I'm not trying to force business and I'm just trying to talk to you and connect with you on a human level. I found that like when we were at dinner with Buddy, I forget his name, but remember it was Tyler and we were the round table.
Yeah.
So this guy does really well. He has like an info product business. I think he coaches for window cleaning, right?
No, like house cleaning.
House cleaning.
Yeah.
It's on the surface, if you're like, oh, this guy does this much in revenue, it's like, oh, but then when I was there, I'm like, he's just another bro. He's just another guy. You know what I mean? We're all human beings. So if I'm treating him differently because of this, it's gonna seem like I'm chasing him or like I'm looking for approval and seeking approval, etc. And I feel like if you're just relaxed, you're just yourself, you know what you have to offer, and you're just treating people like normal human beings. It was a lot easier for me to make connections there. Like for example, when I was at Squad Up Summit, I was sitting next to a guy that does land deals. He has like 7 different businesses. This guy's a G. But he did a land deal last year where he bought it for $2 million. And then 12 months later, he was going to subdivide it. He was going to do this and that. He was planning on developing it because he has a development business and a building business. But he just listed it on the market, $5 million, and sold it for 4.7. Yeah. So in 12 months, he bought it for $2 million, sold it for 4.7 in 12 months. And he told me that story because we were sitting next to each other. And we were just kind of, hey man, what's going on? Where you from? What's going on? Like it was just normal, basic conversation. But then we hit it off. We exchanged contacts, And then we kept talking during the event. And every time we were talking, it was like random stuff. It was like he was telling me about his wife, telling me about his kids. Like, it's not like business, you know? And Jay Waller was mentioning that on the pod.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, you don't want to go for the kill right away. And it's like, yeah, like he's like, the last thing he talks about when he tries to network with guys is business. He's like, you want to talk about like everything else. Everyone else talks about business. Yeah. And it's like, like even when I was sitting at this dinner table with this one guy connected with used to be in Student Works, I saw that he was also in Vegas, and he's always around like just like high net worth guys. I don't know how he does it, but he lived in Miami, then lived in LA. And he's like around models and stuff. So I'm like, obviously he's doing something, because he doesn't really work. I don't know what he does. So I saw he was in Vegas. I was like, yo, I want to like, let's meet up, like long time no see. And we're at this table, and I didn't know who the guy that was kind of hosting the table, but it turns out buddy next to me, he's like, hey, you know, like that guy's like a world famous poker player. He's like, he's playing the World Series tournament here in Vegas for Poker Stars. And so instantly, like the frame shifts, right? I'm like, oh fuck, this guy that I look on Instagram, like, you know, 20K whatever followers, and like he's also a DJ. But then I was like, instead of talking about that, I was like, I almost pretend like I didn't know. I heard he's from Brazil, asked him about Brazilian food, just talk like a normal human being. And then we end up playing blackjack. He's teaching me things. And then I kind of bring up like, are you a poker player or something? He's like, yeah. And then like, hit it off. But I'm lucky actually that when I was at the school games, the other guys that won, I didn't really look into who were the winners. And some have like 200K, 600K, million followers that like I'd never heard of. So I got to actually meet him just person on person. This one guy, he's the biggest like dojo in the world for Kung Fu. He owns like all them over the world. He has an online community.
The guy with the buzz hair, right?
Yeah. So we're just chopping up like on a human level, like just I didn't even know who he was. I thought he's just one of the winners. I didn't research him. He follows me on Instagram and I see him, and then I followed him back, and then we were just talking about stuff later. I was like, yo, by the way, like, I'm so lucky I met you and like got to actually see the human side of you, because I might have treated you differently. And I got so glad like you actually like kind of popped an ideal in my head of like what it means to have all these followers and all stuff. Like we're all just humans. And so I was thanking him because he opened up kind of a new paradigm for me. So when I did meet Waller and met these other guys, I could be more cool rather than like think of them as different people.
Is that something that came naturally from both of you, or is that something you guys got taught and you guys knew you strategically had to like enter these events with that mindset?
No worries.
Call your mom, buddy.
Yeah, I was thinking about it before, like I was talking to Mar too, like strategically how to place yourself in the best standing, but also it is like human nature. Like if you put someone on a pedestal, you're just all of a sudden you're not on the same page at all. Yeah, it's the same thing. Like, and there's different things. You can still show some respect. Like, yo, your videos helped me so much. Like the XYZ. I love the old videos you had where you said this thing. Like that was super fire. And then still talk to them like as human level. You can still show their respect. But if it's like framing for a photo. Man, your biggest fan. Like instantly, you can't really be a fanboy. You can't be homies anymore.
Yeah.
And I even remember like back in the day, we would talk about social dynamics and just different ways of interacting with people. And I think when you understand some of these principles, it translates over to networking with people that you want to do business with, people that you want to connect with. If you're just comfortable in your own skin and you're just relaxed, it's a lot easier to make these connections. And it's like you said, one thing that Oren Klaff talks about in Pitch Anything, did you get to this part of the podcast or no?
Yeah. Destroy the beta mentality.
Destroy the beta mentality and eradicate neediness. So Pitch Anything, Oren Klaff, like if you need to raise $30 million, you go to this guy. If you need to close a $500 million deal that's on the brink of falling apart, you go to this guy. Yeah. And he wrote the book Pitch Anything. And all he talks about is frame control, so status, and eradicating neediness. There's obviously a lot of other things too. But eradicating neediness is a big part of it, because if I feel like, let's say we're meeting up and I'm like, I really need Ricardo's approval, I'm just going to show up differently. I'm going to talk differently. My energy is going to be different. And then you're going to feel that on a subconscious level or a conscious level. And it's just not a good outcome for me. Yeah. And then you're going to put me in a certain category of like, this guy's a fan, for example. Right. So it was definitely a mixture of being taught, but then also embodying it and making it a part of your being.
Yeah. Like networking, sales, relationships, it's all like dating, like it's all really the same thing at the root. It's like, don't chase, attract, respect yourself in your position, dress nice, have good hygiene, carry yourself like you are someone that has self-respect. And then instantly people are like, if this guy respects himself and is looking this way and is not treating me like everyone else is treating me, there's probably something about him that it's intriguing.
Yeah.
And that's what Waller talks about, what all these guys talk about. Because Waller even too, like he started by being a kind of a fan, like joining the war room, right? Before he met the Tates. But then he held himself correctly and how he moved. And then now, you know, and he also said it's because he built a business before he like jumped on the online space that helped him, because he actually built his character prior to like getting on the camera, getting into these rooms. Yeah. So a lot of guys see like the man you are before of like having all these accolades or followers too.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
That reminds me of a clip. I literally watched this earlier about Jeremy Minor, and he was like, the worst salespeople are excited, and they're just like not energetic, but excited to a point where it's too much. And it's almost like sales pressure, and it raises sales resistance. But the best salespeople is like are a little skeptical. Like, okay, why is now the right time? Or what is the goal? What are you looking to achieve? What is the problem? And what is the challenges? What are stopping you from getting there? And that's to his point of you don't want to like put that neediness out there.
Yeah.
And if you are laid back, stoic, you are who you are, and you know, you just exude that to the world and not feel like I need to mold myself into this individual for this particular person to like me, then networking is a lot easier and getting to know people.
Do you find the same thing, especially like hiring salespeople all the time?
Yeah, like well, I do find that training works. Where like, hey, like we're not trying to, we don't want to have commission breath where we're trying to sell them. We're trying to make them move a certain way. We're still playing chess, but we're playing chess without them even know we're playing the game. Of like being laid back, like Ammar's saying, having them speak about their problems, having them bring up the reason why we're here. So it's almost like we're here because they want us here, not the opposite way around. The sales meeting isn't happening because we want to sell them. It's like they actually need us for something. Yeah. So really bringing that out in the conversation, and then not being too excited, even if they say like a certain pain point that you know, like, oh, this is perfect. I can definitely close this guy because he just brought up the thing that I can solve with my thing. It's being like you can get them elaborate more on that, and instead of getting excited. So that's a great point.
Yeah. What were some of the biggest like points you took away from like Harmozy and then you, Daniel G?
So for Mosey. That was a meeting about community, how to build a really strong community. And that's where like things are going. And I'm pretty sure Mosey has a book coming out called $100 Million Community, because he obviously partnered in school. And he drew a cool graph where it was like most communities, like online courses, programs, coaches, whatever it is, there's the coach, there's like the leader, and then there's like all the community members. And there's a line going from the coach to each community member. Okay. So like, it's like connect the dots, but it's the coach connected to each person. But then he drew another graph where it's the coach and then all the community members, and they're all connected to each other, right? So once you think of like a principal in a school, the school, there's friends, there's dynamics. You might hate the principal, but you still go to the same school. Yeah. You might hate your boss, but you still go to work because you got friends. So he's like, a lot of these coaches and communities, they got the guru model where everyone goes to the guru, talks to them, they answer the questions, but they don't really know who else is in the group. So what they're trying to build a school is how to connect everyone else inside your community. That's cool. And that will actually keep the retention higher than even if you're delivering value. Yeah. You still deliver value, but the value is actually the people inside and them getting to know each other. So a lot of cool takeaways where some guys in the onboarding process, they set up meetings with different members in the community. Like, oh, like you're into this thing. This reminds me of Daniel, Kyle, and Mark that's also in the group. I'm just scheduling you quick 15-minute calls with them. So all of a sudden they start building something inside the community and it'll keep helping them to stay. Yeah. That was one big takeaway. There's a couple others, like he actually gave me specific advice because he remembered me when I came more about like, I was asking questions about painting and trade launch and all these different questions. When I came this time, it was more just about trade launch, but he's like, oh, you're the painting guy. He's like, oh, I have a cool idea about how to use your group to actually accelerate your painting business. So he broke down some things. I'm not going to go too much in depth because it's a long thing to talk about. Yeah. But he basically broke it down in a way where it's like, you can use this model to actually start building locations all over the world based on what you have in trade launch. So there's a lot of big takeaways, just listening to the guys' questions. Another thing is just like your posts in your community don't have to be these like huge, like detailed blueprint posts like in school. It could be like, post a picture of your workspace and then you put a poll in the post that's like ready to crush 2024, you know, so just all interactive stuff, less about trying to give like content, but more about just trying to build a community, build a community. Yeah. So obviously that only relates to like people that are building communities, but that alone was a huge takeaway.
I feel like in a way though, you were kind of already building communities before like this Harmozy like meetup. You know what I mean? Like you kind of already had people taking the calls like for you and stuff like that. Like what made you think in that way?
Yeah, like Well, before it still wasn't really building a community, because I was like, people taking calls, I was almost like as an employee standpoint of like, hey, someone's going to come in and do like a sales call, but that doesn't really make the community itself. Like the community is if Frank from Alabama is talking to, you know, Jordan from Miami, and they're both people inside of the program to learn how to build their business, but now they're homies. And then you're making connections inside your community. And the only place now that exists is in this group. So they're going to stay. The exact same thing with, again, if you work for a boss that you don't like, but you got friends in the same job, like you'll stay a bit longer because you're like, yeah, I don't really like this guy, but I like the guys I work with. Yeah. So trying to really build that, if you have an online program, like build a community inside, regardless of your group, like just help them become friends. So they were talking about a lot of retention strategies for communities, because that's like the next business model. I really do think is the low ticket communities, very scalable, and there's a lot of different ways to structure it, but that's where this whole meeting was about. With the one that we went to, and then we went to one before with Harmozy and like his whole acquisition team, which was way different takeaways, was super fire too.
Which was better, or
both in its own way. Yeah,
that's what I thought.
Yeah. So what you said there though, the power of building the community and having the community members attached.
Yeah.
The high ticket or not high ticket, but a membership fee to join up front and then a lower ticket on the back end, that's an argument for that, of increasing the quality and the integrity of the group by making sure the people that are coming in, there's a higher barrier to entry.
Yeah, totally.
But that's just one thing that I noticed about Pace. So I talked about this last time. Yeah. Pace Morby, sub 2.
Are you still working with them?
Yeah. The thing that I noticed about him is he built such a strong, tight-knit community. Like there's literally people that got married from the community.
Wow.
Like they met, there's like 5 different couples, and then one of them recently had a baby and Pace went to the baby shower.
Yeah.
Like it's nuts.
So
it's nuts. And then when they show up to events, like events that maybe aren't hosted by Pace, but they go there, all the people in the real estate community are like, man, how did you build such a great community? How did you do that? I think one of the keys is, one, he pours a lot in the community. So literally one of the very first books that he gets everybody to read is The Go-Giver, and then The Miracle Morning for Millionaires. But The Go-Giver is how he...
I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, that's a great book.
Could you give us...
It's essentially... I've read it a long time ago, but essentially it's a story of this guy that wanted to become an entrepreneur, and then he goes and then talks to this older entrepreneur, and then he gives them life lessons, basically. Essentially, if I had to summarize it in one sentence, the more you give without the expectation of getting anything in return, the more the universe will give you. Like you will just receive more just because you're just giving and pouring into the people that support you, or into anybody, honestly, even if they hate, etc. You're just you live by that mentality, by that methodology. But so he does meetups on a regular basis. So all over the country, the people in that area will meet up on a monthly basis, whether it's in person or whether it's over Zoom, and like he'll encourage that.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a big thing that's
in school just created school maps. So if you're in the school community,
that's cool.
I suggest everyone to make a school community. And if you do, use my link because I'll get a good thing. No, it's dope the way they built their business with referral. Like if you refer one person, you get half of their membership fee you get
for life,
as long as they're a member. So you need 2 members because it's only $97 a month or $99 a month to run your own school community. Yeah. You get 2 people that referred, you get school for free now for the rest of your life. And that's how why Harmozy invested in school, because he's like, the referrals are growing the business 60%, which is very unheard of for just word of mouth and referrals to grow a business 60%. Like usually it's like 5% off referrals or 10%, especially for big $1 million companies. You don't see that often. But yeah, going back to what you're saying, in-person meetups too. Like, remember when we did the Uncapped times trade launch?
Yeah,
like,
that was awesome.
If that is like, if you have access to community, and then that comes with these free events every month, the retention is huge. Like seeing people in person, and that's exactly what Mosey's doing with school. Like the top 10 winners, they get awarded to go out in person with him. And now people want to go out, so they stay in the community, hopefully in a win. And all these things are just how to keep people staying in a community.
It's crazy because after that event, I had so many people like, when's the next one?
Yeah.
When's the next one? You know what I mean? Like,
it's a human element that you're bringing back into. Like,
and it's like the tribal thing, right? Where it goes back evolutionary psychology, we're tribal beings. If we're all coming together based on this specific topic and we know we're all like-minded individuals, the majority of people don't have that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And going back to that graph too, of like how it's like the community leader, and then like if they're only just connected to each member, the in-person meetups allow all the members to connect. Which then if a tie cuts from like one person and the leader, let's say maybe they don't answer the question in time, or they feel like they're not getting the value from the leader anymore, they're connected with all these other people. So there's a lot of ties to cut for someone to feel isolated, to leave the group. And that's what a lot of businesses have, like low retention. People come into maybe a program, they get what they think they need, and they leave. But if they have like connections with all these people, because in-person meetups and Zoom calls with each other rather than just the leader can actually do less of trying to like always try to give value and make sure everyone's okay. Everyone's just connected anyway.
So do you think like you find these people through the screening process, or is that something you develop?
Well, it would be like people that would join, like let's say I have trade launch. Let's say it's $200 a month, come in and get access to all my stuff, and I get 100 people in. Now, how do I want to keep those 100 people in? Do I just keep trying to give more value so they feel like they're always getting training? Or do I do what's literally the basic needs of our existence is human interaction, help them make friends with the other community members? So I'm a connector with the people inside. That's actually when it's going to keep them paying me to stay in my group, because they have friends now inside. So a lot of courses again don't have that. They're the guru and the follower model, which then if the guru doesn't show up in a certain way for that one person, the tie gets cut. They have no other ties connected, and they churn, they leave. And that's a big problem with online business is people are churning, they're leaving.
And do you feel like you have to like have that proof of concept as a leader to be leading these people, or can you just
what do you mean?
Like in a sense of like you have to be that guy who actually did the shit that you said you did.
It depends, man. They could have one of Pokemon card collector community, $57 a month. Come in, like I'm just hosting the group, but I'm building the community for you. Like this is actually the value is the people inside of it. It's like a Facebook group, right?
Like the admin.
It's not like the owner in the Facebook group always has a post. A lot of times it's like Kijiji, for instance. Who the fuck owns Kijiji? It's a community though. They get a cut. People are making money. It's like building those type of communities where you just build it, you get the right people in, and like that could be through a screening process to get those people in as clients and building that atmosphere. And from what I'm seeing with Ravi from Scaling with Systems and like now Harmozy and all these guys are moving towards this low ticket reoccurring model that you can have ascensions. So
they have that as part of their business, and then there's other layers. Sorry to cut you off, but for example, Ravi he runs a business called Scaling with Systems,
like 25 million a year.
Nice. He's a gangster.
Nice. Wow.
But his girlfriend has a community where it's all about women that want to become more feminine, getting to, I think it's like $7 a month or $27 a month, something like that. And it's all about, hey, we just want to hop on calls and talk with each other. We want to be feminine women and get in touch with our feminine energy, et cetera, et cetera. And it's not like she's some sort of expert,
some feminine queen. Like she's probably trying to learn herself,
and she's not even trying to position herself as that. But it's building the tribe of people that are interested in what you're doing, and that's the power of the internet. Tim Ferriss said this: if you can get 1,000 true fans that believe in whatever the message is that you're putting out, you don't necessarily have to be the expert. You just have to be the person that is bringing these people together.
Yeah, it's like a gym membership.
DJ Khaled effect. You
might hate the owner of Good Life, but you like the boys you're working out with. You're gonna still go to the gym.
Do you guys think this is eventually going to replace like school, like university, college?
Yeah, who knows,
that's all
man.
community. That's all community.
You could say that about the entire alternative education space. Right? I think that's coexist. A deeper conversation. I think they'll coexist
because of lawyers and doctors and those things. But I do think the whole social thing, like the psychology, the stuff that you don't really need, like to actually do what a lot of people go into psychology, like myself, not even wanting to really be a psychologist. Like I don't want to sit down and hear someone's problems all day. I just want to learn more about the mind. I can go take a course on that for like $30, you know? So I do think it will like lower the business of higher education, I believe.
I think you would have to change the perception of society at such a high level to get rid of university. And that would take decades to do and is very, very difficult. But I do think that more people are moving towards the alternative education space. So that's school communities, that's high ticket courses, that's online education, that's YouTube University. You could learn so much just off of free YouTube videos. But replacing university,
I don't think it's possible.
And maybe not in our lifetime. There's always
going to be a niche for it,
in my opinion, but who knows? I could be wrong.
Universities have changed so much.
Yeah, but even too, I think there's always going to be like that demographic of people that will always go to that, right? Like just as the people who are kind of waving off and doing like their own things, like as we see now, there's always going to be the other half that won't do it, right? Because they're too scared.
I think what the bullshit degrees are probably going to get weeded out.
Man, school is just exciting. Like school, like SKOOL, like actually super exciting for anyone. Like you guys could totally build a community on how to start your first podcast. Or just like a podcast community where guys that have podcast network, guys that want to start their network, the guys that do the best, they get flown out to come on your podcast where you could feature them or it's a Zoom call. And dude, if it's $200 a month, if I could promise you that I will give you value, I'll give you $10,000 of value, especially if I know I can in trades, because I know I could, based on the teaching every month, if we help on one call a month, I will help you increase your closing rate in some more work. I know I could give you probably 10 grand of value every month at least. And if I say it's only $200 a month, it's $200 a month, you're gonna have access to tons of 7-figure contractors. You're gonna have all of our internal SOPs and trainings. You'll have access to me weekly, our team. We're gonna help train your team. It's $200 a month. If you get 500 people at $200 a month, that's 100 grand a month. Like it's actually 100 grand a month, reoccurring. And that's what's crazy about this platform is like, you don't have to sell these $10,000, $20,000 things, because that's a very hard to find. You got to do a lot of work, sales calls, follow-ups. $200 come
build
in,
a solid product, all these things.
They'll just do it right away. They'll just slap their card.
I really think this is a groundbreaking new way of business.
So something you're thinking of doing now, like especially with what like
it's definitely in the works for the future.
Yeah.
You've been talking about it for a while too. Like with
and you have expertise.
You have some. Well, he and Ammar helped me. Like I remember we actually closed about 20 people from that webinar. Like not all of them closed at once. But Ammar and I, like we were both trying to win the school games. So because we wanted to win, like it was the top 10 out of 30.
Sorry, explain the school games just for those who don't know. Like, explain
like
the school, because you guys are monsters. I remember smoking shisha and Ammar's on a call. Like,
so school games, basically what school is, it's a platform where coaches, agency owners,
community builders,
consultants,
anything.
can use this platform. That there's different features on the platform. You can have almost like a Facebook page, like a community tab where people can talk and interact. You have another tab which is classroom. You can have all your courses in there. You have another tab that's calendar. You can see the upcoming Zoom calls that you have with the group. And there's a leaderboard where the people that do the best and interact the most community can unlock prizes inside the community. So it's a platform that Sam Ovens built after he sold his own coaching program, consulting.com, for like 50 mil. He sold this and then started school. And he's this like nerd, like just quiet guy that just thinks about like the system.
Genius.
So then he brought Mosey on. And because Mosey has the brand and he's all about, how to build the businesses. So what school is, it gives someone that has you don't have any expertise, but you can pay $99 a month to use their program to build your own course or community or program inside using their platform. It's like a CRM in a sense, but it's way more than that. So then what they have is every month they see who can make the most monthly reoccurring revenue out of the 13,000 members that are currently using school, and the top 10 get flown out to go meet Mosey and Sam and talk about how do they build their group, what's working, so and all that. So Ammar and I started making some sales at the beginning, and I was like, yo, Ammar, we're like second place right now. I was like, let's freaking win this thing. So Ammar started studying the perfect webinar. So basically by Russell Brunson. And basically what that is, and you can explain more about it, but it's you host a free webinar. Okay, you get people in. I have like some following on Facebook and different things on Instagram, contractors that want to learn what I'm up to. You get them all on a webinar, you give a bunch of value, but then you have a call to action at the end where you have like a sale. And so we did that and we closed like 20 people off the webinar. And that was the day after, we actually had on the day that my mom passed, we pushed it off one day. So some of the retention went down. Like we had about 300 signups, I believe, around there. Or maybe it was less than that.
I think it was like 100 something.
Yeah.
But
But
it was
still though, 100 something signups though. Like
but that week was hectic. I feel like we could have gotten a lot more. If it was,
and we had to push it off, so some people didn't go. But Ammar built out the whole framework of kind of what to say, when to say it, when to give value, and that's what helped us win too. Like.
Now I want to ask, like school games, was that a competition? Because you guys are competitive, you guys are like monsters. You guys want to like win. Was it because of the win, or was it because you guys wanted to build that community? Like
both, totally both. But definitely like
both for
the reason I believe I went really hard that month because I saw it was actually an option to win. Like I didn't even know I would win that ever because there was 13,000 people. Like I'm still starting out, and when I saw myself on the leaderboard, I was like, okay, I want to keep this now. And that's even another thing going back to retention in your own coaching program. If you build leaderboards and competitions, people will stay to play. Right now, it's not about just getting the value to the group. Like I've even watched
gamified.
So so that was super dope. I remember I was so hyped up to win. Remember when we went out to breakfast? We called like an 8 a.m. emergency meeting with me and Ammar and Tyler because we had a bunch of leads to cold call, try to get them in the group. I had this big briefcase, walk in, we're all just like tired, open up the briefcase, and it was just like this like piece of paper like wrote a pen, but it's like we gotta fucking win. Like he's like we have to win.
Mission 14 or something.
Mission 14 or something. We had to close 14 to win. Like
that's awesome.
That's dope.
And then we went to work.
Did you find any burnout at like now where you're at?
Not burnout, but just like restructuring everything. Cause I was just really trying to get people in, and now I'm like, hey, how do I actually make this into like the best like like the best community for contractors in the world. Like that's where my mind's going now, is like, this is a really cool thing. We're very early with school. That's why I've talked about it a lot, because like guys that get in now, like if you guys build your own school community, like I highly suggest you do it and start thinking about how to structure it, because Hormozy just got in. Like now guys are getting in. Like Daniel that you just went to his thing.
He had one.
Yeah,
he had one.
And he just got in though. He's like early. And he was 15 on the leaderboard. He didn't win this month. So it's like there's a lot of guys that like Nate Belmar won. You know Luke Belmar? Belmar?
Yeah.
So Nate Belmar won. He did like 100
for this month, I think. Yeah.
So all these big dogs are coming in now, and if you get top 10, and you don't have to do crazy to get top 10. Like you have to do well, but you can. There's strategies to win that I can talk about. Just how you price your community, because you can price it as low as $1 a month or $0 a month, all up to $999 a month.
Yeah.
So you could start it free and then convert it to paid in the future.
Yeah. Like our first 100 members are free. Give people a lane to build a community. Hey guys, anyone after this is $50 a month. But what I'm getting at is with the school games, like you can shift your whole network by winning this thing, sitting at a table with Hormozy, Sam Ovens, I was with Justin Waller, all these guys that won that month, and they're all there listening because Mozy's the top G when it comes to business. Yeah. So it's like that alone is the value of playing the game. And even if you can't win, you're still in the community with them where you can ask those guys questions like inside of the group.
Yeah. And that's the best thing about the group, right? And what about you with Daniel G? Like what was the biggest takeaway you took from that event?
So that was funny because I almost didn't go. Like I literally wasn't planning on going at all. But then Jackson Mayers, you guys had him on before. We lived together. So he's like, bro, I'm literally getting ready right now. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to go. I don't know if it's going to be super valuable. I have all the sales training, blah, blah, blah. And then we Googled where the spot was, and it was this dope mansion. It was literally less than 2 hours away from us. And I'm like, that's crazy. I'm hopping in the shower, getting ready, going. Yeah. What's crazy was it was a private event. Like we weren't even supposed to be there. So it was a private event where this insurance company paid for him to fly out and train his guys. But Jackson got connected with this guy because he went to the Sales Leadership Summit with Patrick Bet-David, connected with this guy out in Toronto. This guy messaged Jackson and he was like, hey, Daniel G's having an event, it's like $150. And we're like, this is a no-brainer. We go, we're thinking it's going to be like a bunch of people. It was this insurance company and we're the only randoms. Like we're literally, nobody else found it on Eventbrite. So the fact that it was crazy, bro. It was crazy, which just shows you the power of going to these events and going to like, if Jackson didn't go to that networking event, he never would have met this one guy. And then he never would have told him about Daniel G's event. And then if I wasn't talking with Jackson, I never would have, you could snowball this into so many different things.
Yeah,
that's fine.
But Daniel G is an absolute beast, bro. Like he's 29 years old. He was talking for 3.5 hours straight. Just 3.5 hours straight. My biggest takeaway though, the thing that pops into my mind right now is he's like, because he's a sales trainer, right? So he's talking to sales professionals. He's like, as a sales professional, you have this conversation way more than the prospect does. Prospect maybe will have it 1 to 5 times max if they're shopping around, but you've had this probably 5 times a day, right? And if you've been doing this for a while, you add that up, it compounds. Okay. So for a salesperson to not know exactly why somebody would say no is absolutely like ridiculous for you to not. It's disgraceful to you and to your profession, the fact that you don't know that. So basically, one of the things that he was saying, my biggest takeaway from that is write down all the reasons why somebody would say no to what you have to offer. Every single thing that you can possibly think of. And then of those things, come up with 3 to 4 different ways to, I don't like the word rebuttal, but to objection handle. Exactly. To those things. So that was the biggest thing for me is, okay, for example, sub 2, it's a real estate offer. What are all the different reasons that people would say no to that? Also, land investing and trying to buy somebody's land. What are all the different reasons somebody would say no to your offer or working with your company? Pre-foreclosures, what are all the different reasons that somebody would say no to your offer and your company, etc. And then you could snowball this to everything that you do. Why would somebody say no to coming onto your podcast? Why would a girl say no to going out with you, etc. And then just knowing all those reasons.
Have a fucking
exactly.
I have a boyfriend. It's like, okay,
well, I'm better.
Exactly.
I was just writing down what you're saying there because that's huge. Like alone, I'm gonna now go back into every objection that would they would give an estimator for why they don't want to paint their house. I'm gonna make 5 ones for each. Put in the community.
Boom.
value there.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
value everywhere. And that's what you're saying with the whole networking thing of like Jackson paid maybe 5 or 10K to go in a room with these guys, made a connection here. That wasn't, and not only did he get triple the times of value, quadruple based off not only the connections he made, but the value he got from going to a thing like we're going to be going to with Andy Elliott.
Yeah.
But he also gets to bring the gold back, share it with his homies, get him into another room because of that connection. You know, so it's like, it's actually like a lot of times we might think, oh, it's kind of selfish. We're going to spend this money on ourselves to go get education or go like on like kind of a fun trip. But like, we're making ripples in the waves outside of our city. We can bring that back for the boys.
So
The network is getting ridiculous this year. And there's another lesson in that.
I love that.
I almost didn't go. I almost didn't go.
Yeah.
So if I was just a bitch and just was like, I want to stay at home, I never would have gotten to experience that. I never would have met Daniel G, gotten to talk to him, because he was just sitting on the couch before the event started. Like, it was just chill. And then I went to dap him up, just talked, just exchanged a few words, nothing too crazy, but still a good experience. And I got to get his energy and feel his vibe, which is a huge thing. Feeling people's vibe in person, I feel like you learn a lot more when you see the person in person, because you understand how they truly are. Online can be a little bit different, but like I could trace this back to so long ago. Like, for example, back in 2019 or 2020, before the pandemic hit, I almost didn't go to a networking event in Palisade. It was like a FIRE event, Financial Independence, Retire Early. I almost didn't go. I was laying in bed and I almost didn't go. But for whatever reason, got my ass up, and then I went and I met James Fernandez. And James Fernandez told me about Matt McKeever. And then Matt McKeever got me into wholesaling real estate. And then that led me to meeting Mike Van Hout. And then last year I went to Colombia a bunch of times because of Mike, doing the masterminds and whatnot. So there's so many ripple effects, and we are still so young. So we don't even know what the effects of doing these things and meeting these people and having these experiences will have once we're 30, 35, 40.
It's interesting because we go into like a lot of people say about, you know, this is a season of saying no, say no, say no, say no, you know, focus on just what you're doing. But I found that the more I've said yes, especially if I felt like it was outside my comfort zone, saying yes to maybe, or saying no to maybe going with the boys to drink, you've done it before. There's not like, maybe you'll have a crazy connection, but the likelihood is different than if you're already out somewhere, or it's like something that's like outside of your comfort zone. You say yes to those things. I found every time I've said yes, I've gotten tons of value. Even when I was in Vegas this weekend, I got invited to go to the steakhouse, and I was like, I had to go get my bag, and then I didn't have a room because I was going to leave that night. So I was just going to like kind of stay up and go to different casinos and just hang out that night. So I didn't really have like a place to get dressed and all this stuff. And I got invited to the steakhouse, and I was like, well, maybe not. Then if I was like, I'm in Vegas, like it's a proper steakhouse, let's just go and see what happens. So I decided to go. I was a little bit late, got there. Now I'm sitting across this guy that's the world star poker player for Poker Stars. We go play blackjack after. I connect with him. He invites me to Miami. Like, all these things just happened because I just said yes. Because but the part of my brain that was like, it was a lot of work to make that happen. I could have just chilled and relaxed and enjoyed my last day. You know, it's those voices. It's when to say yes and when to say no. But I think when we're young, as long as our business and we're doing the things that we know we need to do, and we're not like procrastinating and leaving a bunch of things behind, we should say yes. We should say yes to a lot of opportunities that come up.
There's some line I heard recently. We have so much energy right now, like being so young, that we have to like gas out as much as we can now, because later on we probably won't have that same energy.
100%. And it was like the guys that said yes to coming to our event, that was like $99 or whatever that we had at Mike's thing. All the guys were so happy they said yes, and they're happy that we kind of handled some of their objections to try to get them in. And that goes back to, if you know you can have something that you can actually sell, that's good. Like you want to help them say yes because you know what that can help them with. So I think
can I challenge you on what you said?
Go for it.
I agree with the way that I would frame it. Is you want to have these and he made a great point that you actually need to be doing the things that you need to be doing to get to where you want to go, and you're not just using these events as procrastination to get the thing done. But the thing that I would challenge you is I would switch the frame of, we need to have as many experiences as we can now, especially when it comes to growing outside of our comfort zone, networking with people, because you never know when you're going to go. You never know when you're going to pass away. Because I disagree with the idea of, I have a lot of energy now, I'm not going to have a lot of energy in the future. Because, not to change this into a health conversation, but with the science that's out today, with what people know today, if you take care of yourself, you can be young when you're 60, 70. And when I say young, I mean you could have a mobile body, you could be in great shape, you could feel good, you could have energy, but it comes down to the decisions that we're making on a regular basis, right? So
No,
I
get
think
what
you
you're-
can still have energy when you're
No,
older.
and I agree with that. I think it's like how like that's what people said, right? It's not necessarily what I had said, right?
Yeah,
but
fair
like,
enough.
and,
It's okay,
and I
man.
no, it's
It's
okay.
all
And
good.
no, and I think it's a good point for you to make, right? I think it's a lot of the biggest thing is right. A lot of time is like when people get old, they have families, they have all this. Like,
Yeah,
there's a lot more
yeah.
distractions within your life.
Just
where you-
stretch, bro. Just
so,
stretch.
So like that's the energy in a way, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
But that's like, I guess, like
No, I
the
completely
average,
agree.
like normal person in a way. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, people like who are thinking of above and beyond. Like the best thing that I think I heard Harmozy say is like, you really understand someone's character once they're successful. You know what I mean? Because like, are they
It
gonna be
amplifies.
comfortable or are they still a dog? You know?
Yeah.
And like you guys are so successful. You guys are successful, quote unquote, like to the average, whatever. But like you guys are still looking for it. You guys are still like hunting for it.
Well, Hermosi has a good point where he's like, the guys that are the most successful, they're actually a little bit insecure in terms of like they don't feel like they're actually achieved the thing that they're up to achieve yet.
Yeah.
But they also have a superiority complex where they believe they can do it. And
They
there's
believe they're better than people.
yeah, and like there was something else
Almost,
too
Yeah.
there, which is interesting because it's like all of our strengths and weaknesses we can actually turn into strengths if we look at them in the right perspective. If someone is insecure, use that towards doing more. If you're insecure because you're fat, well, go lose weight and use that insecurity to funnel your ass in the gym. You know, or you could sit down and cry and say I'm insecure and everyone hates me. But you can use two perspectives. And it's the stories we tell ourselves, which goes back to that point. It's like I hear a lot of people say like, oh, you're gonna peak in your 30s and then you're gonna kind of go. I don't adopt that story. I'm gonna peak in my 70s. I honestly think I'm gonna be crushing my 70s. God willing, I live that long. But my peak is just I look at my peak higher than I think some people might look at their peaks, and and that's something that helped a lot. And it's like even listening to Waller, he's like when you hit a certain peak, the people that lose are the people that rest. They rest. They take too much celebration at the peak, and they stop looking for the next one. And it's like you hit a peak. You know, you're probably gonna have to climb down the peak, and it's gonna go through maybe some times of comfort and certain things that come with success. Then a lot of times there's like a flip side of that. But if you're looking for the next peak, you have another mission to go on.
Yeah.
So I'm still looking for water. I got the peak I'm at right now is building the biggest community for contractors in the world. And then once we hit that, we'll see what the next one is.
It's funny you guys
that's
brought that up
exciting.
because we said like at least for me it's like I'll get to my peak, right? Celebrate and start walking down when there's another mountain right behind me that I'm not looking at. And I think that's a lot of people will have that where it's like you get comfortable and you're like, okay, now I'm done, but you still haven't finished the mountain. There's a lot way bigger mountain to climb at that point.
Yeah.
Are there any insecurities you guys experience right now?
Totally. I think with coaching, like I always think I have to have it together, and that's why I'm shifting how I'm speaking to the community that I'm running around Trade Launch. It's more like follow along on the journey as we grow our own painting business to 10 million. We'll explain more about the failures we're facing, the challenges, rather than me always just trying to have only solutions. And get insecurity was like someone asked me a question, like I don't fully know that answer, but it's like now that I flip it to like, who else in the community knows this? Oh, Mihai's great with systems. I'm gonna connect you guys together. I can still give value without having all the answers, but I can be a connector. And I think that's where that was one insecurity I had. And that's probably more that will come up as I think about it more. But that was definitely one with, especially putting yourself more as like a coach. Like you do get insecurities of not maybe knowing everything.
Yeah. And what about yourself, Mar? Like, is there any insecurities in your business or the way you operate? Like, because I feel like that's what kind of elevates you to the next. Like,
Like when you were even saying you guys are, I feel like I'm nowhere near where I want to be.
the same thing.
I'm nowhere near. I'm like, I don't even like you saying that. Like, I just don't feel like I'm anywhere near my potential. I'm anywhere near where I want to be at this time, etc. But another thing of like, when it comes to putting myself out there and building the brand, because I follow and I've gotten so many courses, bro, of people that are much further ahead than me and know so much more than me. I always have the thing in the back of my mind of like, well, why would anybody listen to me and not listen to the person that I'm listening to? You know what I mean? Like, why not just go get it from the source? So that's something that just popped in my mind when you asked that question. But we're all works in progress, man. We're fucking
and like I was saying, like I know you guys are like monsters and you guys aren't even near where you guys are gonna reach, right? But like to the average person, it's unfortunate, but like this is like wow, you know what I mean?
Maybe I don't know.
No. But honestly,
Thanks,
though,
man.
let's no. But let's think about it though. Honestly, like let's walk in the street. Let's ask people. Probably 99 are gonna say like, oh, these guys are lucky or this and this and that, right?
Yeah.
Like you guys are operating in a whole different sort of mindset.
I am very grateful. I'm very grateful. We are very blessed. I think everybody has these opportunities with the internet now. We all have these options to do whatever the fuck we want to do. but I feel like we both capitalized on it, and we both had really good mindsets from a young age.
Yeah.
Totally. And questioning things and questioning school and being a little
Like
bit
actual school, university. That's
okay. But also like just like a lot of self-study. Like even when I was working at the butcher shop, I knew I didn't want to be where I was at. I didn't want to be grinding tongues and cow livers for dog food. Like obviously not. But I had a podcast always in my ear, and I was always dreaming about things and like thinking about what I was going to create and getting excited. So even I was feeling the sense of excitement in the back of a butcher shop because I had a feeling of what was going to come. Like going for long runs helped too. You build that mental muscle that you're talking about with David on the podcast. All these things are just things that we could all do. And that definitely helped. And then also like I invested a lot of money into courses. Like I probably paid over 150K buying courses to learn. And some of them I didn't even watch. And that's a problem. But at the end of the day, like I remember I paid 5K for this course, didn't even watch it, but on the first call, he onboarded me in a certain way, and I just took his onboarding and I just used that for mine. I was like, that alone is the value. Yeah. So you always will get value. Obviously, the more you put in, the more you get out. But I would say the people that are hesitant to like buy that course or join that community or do that thing, do it, man. You just never know what's gonna come. You gotta put your money where your mouth is. Like,
you guys ever worry that like there's no limit? That you guys are always like
gonna be chasing?
You know what I mean?
No.
So I'll always be going.
That's cool.
But that doesn't worry me though.
I don't worry about that.
Yeah, I actually see that people retire is when they start getting sick or they start getting, like
facts.
It's like I don't want to even think I made it. Like I think that's something that even Andy Elliott talks about. Like if you ever think you made it, like that's a fallacy. Like, you didn't ever make it. Because what does that even mean? Like you might make a lot of money, but how's your faith? How's your morals? Like there's always something that needs to get improved. And if you can balance that with still being, putting work where work is and putting home where home is, you come in home to your girlfriend or whatever it is, like you're not always like constantly trying to just be better, but like you can be better in subtle ways where you treat her better or you say something better or you make your bed or whatever it is. But yeah, I don't think there's ever be a point where I'm like, oh, I'm done now. I'm just like a little slug.
What about you?
I don't worry about it at all. Because I think I balance it with gratitude very well. Of knowing that I could die tomorrow and I am still grateful for the life that I have. I'm grateful for the people around me. I'm grateful for the energy that I'm putting in every single day. I don't think I'll ever feel like, oh, like I'm worth tens of millions of dollars and I'm not happy. I don't think I'll ever be that guy, right? Because I could be happy with nothing right now.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not really gonna make a difference. But balancing those two, I think, is a big thing of dreaming big dreams and chasing. And I don't want to say chasing. That word has a negative connotation in my mind now, so I'm just gonna take that out. But dreaming big dreams and striving for more, etc., while also balancing of like, bro, I am so grateful for life. I live the best life possible. I have amazing experiences. I have amazing people around me. I'm literally traveling in 2 days. I came back 2 weeks ago. It's like life is great. Life is great, and living every single day with that, like Andrew Tate has this course called Iron Mind, where if you just do some YouTube search, you'll be able to find it. But in the very last module, it's like 3 different modules, like day 1, day 2, day 3. In the very last module, what he's like fast from food for a bit, fast from water for a bit, or you know what, if you tend to impulsively buy things, just tell yourself, I'm not going to buy this thing today. And then when you do that thing, feel the gratitude and feel gratefulness. It's a side of him that most people don't see, but he actively every single day, and if you watch Take Confidential, like you'll notice this, of you're trying to do bigger and better things because you're satisfying that natural urge to be competitive and to conquer, but at the same time, bro, life is good. Life is great. I'm going to enjoy my day-to-day experiences regardless of what's happening.
100%. And if I feel like I made it, that means I don't have a purpose anymore. Like, like the thing that is going to keep me going is not, I don't think it's going to be the monetary thing. Cause I do believe that everyone in our circle like is going to be worth a lot of money if that's what they decide to do. Like I believe anyone can be worth money. That's just one facet, but it's like, as long as I have a purpose to chase and an impact I want to make, that will keep me going. It actually will. I'll be more upset if I stop, because I'll be like, I'm not living out my full purpose. And that's what always kind of had me in the back of my head. That's why when I was at school, I was sitting uncomfortably because I was like, I know this isn't right for me, but and the only reason I'm here is because I'm not brave enough to like make that leap out. But I'm doing this to satisfy the thoughts of my parents and whatever, and these people, even though I know they actually would want the best for me regardless. And if I know what the best for me is now, maybe I don't know fully what the best for me is, but I do have a feeling I should do that for everyone. And it's just so easy to get stuck in these social norms where it's like you really believe you know, but you just are so scared to break out of the shell. Yeah, I just think the purpose and the mission is gonna keep me going.
Do you feel like you're living for yourself at this point now, not for others, and that's why you're getting all these blessings and you're so fulfilled?
It's like, that's an interesting question, because it's almost like I'm actually still living for others, and I'm living for myself for sure. You gotta fill your cup to fill their cups, but also when I look at, you know, some new estimators I brought on, they closed some sales and they're happy. We got a good culture. Like, that's for them, man. It's like, for me, crunching payroll or whatever, like the little problems, it's like, yes, that's for me because my business like will stay alive. But a lot of times, like, maybe I could be a couple of days late on this thing or this commitment, but I want to make sure they're happy. So I think that it's a balance of both for you and for others. And even like going back to the leaving school, is that just for you? Maybe on the surface level, like, okay, I want to drop out of school because I know I can be more rich or whatever if I go do this. But look at the wide surface. What happens if you drop out of school and you make the money and you do the things you want to do? Who are you gonna be able to impact? So then it's going back to others again.
I love that. One of my favorite videos of all time, I go back to this on a regular basis, called The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. And one of my favorite definitions of success ever. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So if you have a goal and you're moving towards that goal, you're successful. That's my favorite definition of success of all time. So let's say we do accomplish all of our targets and we do accomplish everything that we want to do. And now we're just like, hey, I want to lay back. I don't want to do anything. But now we have a wife, we have children. And now my goal is to become the best dad ever. Our buddy just had a kid. And his goal now is to become the best dad ever. So that in and of itself is success. And I feel like when you reframe it like that, a lot of what society tells you is success. A lot of what we tend to compare ourselves in the age of social media and whatnot, of like, okay, look at this guy, look at that guy, but all you're seeing is their highlight reels. You don't sit back and self-study, self-reflect, and actually ask yourself the questions of, what do I care about? What are my values? What is truly important for me? Why is that important in the first place? And I think what you'll come to find is that a lot of it comes down to service to others. At least that's what I found for myself. And when I look at the people that I look up to a lot, their mission now is impact driven. If I want to impact others, I want to bring the light and bring my message to the world of whatever that may be, whether it's in business, whether it's in health, whether it's in something else. But I feel like it's a combination of both. Of like, you have to live for yourself and take care of yourself and become the best version that you can possibly be, because as a byproduct of doing so, you will be able to help the people around you and impact them in a much better fashion.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's kind of like one of our core values in Trade Launch is grow or die. It's like, you're all like, you literally, there's no place in the middle. Like, you're either growing or you're dying. So by going back to the Earl Nightingale quote of success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal, meaning like, as long as you have something you're chasing, as long as you're trying to get better, as long as you're putting in some form of effort to work towards a goal, you are successful in the moment because you're growing. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing, where it's not always about the sales number you hit. It's not about the certain employees that you hired, but it's, are you putting in those steps to try to hit that goal? Because even if you have a bad week, but you did all the cold calls, you did the door knocking, you did the things you need to do, maybe the result isn't going to be the same, but you hit the progressive steps towards it. And I think that gets skewed a lot with people when they look at revenue and numbers. It's like, some people can book a $300,000 job and get kind of lucky in a sense, and the revenue looks really good. But I would actually think the people that are most successful are the guys that knocked on doors every day and did exactly what they need to do, and maybe they only booked 50K, but they actually did the thing. And that is the biggest thing for me. And anyone can win a lottery ticket, but it's like, who goes every day and crunches the numbers every time and puts in the effort? I would think that person's actually more successful at the lottery than the one that won it. Yeah, because they went every day and crunched numbers. I'm not saying do the lottery, but it's like it's the effort that's more important than success, and that's what's the most fun about it. Like,
and that's where the most growth is. 100%. That's where you learn the most.
And do you guys think that's something that's like innate? You got to be born that way. Like, can anybody become this person, this man?
Can anyone put effort in? Of course, man. Like, it's like when we had to survive. Like, the reason we're where we're at now is because we went hunting. We didn't, our ancestors didn't sleep in and like, oh, I'm not gonna go hunt bears today because whatever, and watch Netflix. Like, no, like you had to go hunt or else you die. So it's grow or die. And now it's grow or die mentally, but not physically. So it's like you might not die if you don't grow. You might just become lazy and fat and go on welfare or whatever. And some people are already at that stage, but you can just choose to grow again.
Yeah.
But back then you were just literally die. You get eaten by a tiger, you're done.
Yeah.
So it's like that was forced upon us, and now it's a choice, which makes it actually a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think most people use that as an excuse of that's just not me, bro. I'm just not that guy. I just don't want that. But in reality, I feel like they've gotten themselves into a pattern where it's so habitual to be lazy, to not be ambitious, to not have goals, and they never even allowed themselves to dare to dream big dreams.
Yeah, totally.
You've never even allowed yourself to dare to dream big dreams. So because it's become such a habit, and because it's become so familiar, and you've ingrained it in yourself so much, those neural pathways are like, oh, that's just who I am. Yeah. But in reality, if you just, it's like, for example, somebody who never works out, trying to start working out, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to feel like shit. It's not going to feel normal. It's not going to feel like yourself, but that's because that comfort zone is you're rewiring your neural pathways. You're literally rewiring the chemistry in your brain to like to do something that you never used to want to do.
Yeah.
However, at the same point, I do think there's people, it's the concept of nature versus nurture, right? Are we blank slates and we could just write anything we want on that canvas based on our upbringing, based on the programming that we get? Or is there some sort of nature involved? The more I listen to Tai Lopez, the more I listen to guys about psychology and what they're talking about now, I think it's a mixture of both. I do think there's some people that are more inclined to want to hunt for more, because in the tribes, if we were to bring it way back in the day, there was only a few guys. It wasn't like all the men were going out and hunting. There was, or I don't know, but
tradesmen, you have
some tradesmen, some bongo players.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a mixture, and there's definitely certain people that are inclined to different endeavors in life or whatever, and people have different predispositions. Mm-hmm. But I think you can build yourself into any type of person that you want to be. So if you want to be a particular type of person, you just have to model success. Success leaves clues. See what other people that were successful, what did they do before you, and then just model it. And it's just that simple. So you can build yourself into whatever the fuck you want to be.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's
important. I feel like for people to hear though, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people are just, they're coasting.
Yeah, I think a lot of people know what they want to.
Yeah.
I think it's like thing, like people say, oh, I don't really know what I want to do. It's like, what do you want to do? It's like, well, maybe I would like to do this, but that's like way over there. Yeah. It's okay. It's like, what are some things you could do that are going to allow you to dream bigger? Okay, maybe it is getting in better shape. Maybe it is buying a course of like what are the first steps to become an astronaut? Let's say if someone's goal is to be an astronaut, but they just wrote it off. It's like, hey, get this little thing here. Read this book about astronauts. See if it's even up your alley. Maybe you'll unlock a new pathway if you can read a story of someone that went from nothing to an astronaut, and this is the steps they took. But it's just the effort of putting yourself out there. I think it comes with your predisposition, your beliefs.
Do you think?
I like what you. Sorry to cut you off. I think a lot of people don't allow themselves to even say they want the thing. So maybe in the back of their mind they want it, but they're scared of saying the thing, because if they fail, quote unquote, if they fail, that's going to be a negative self-reflection, and they're going to identify with that failure of, I am a failure. I was listening to Tim Ferriss and Chris Williamson on the Modern Wisdom podcast yesterday. Tim Ferriss is an absolute beast. I forget exactly what the question was that he asked him, but it's what Tim said that stuck with me is he looks at everything that he does in life as a series of experiments. It's not a close-ended loop of failure or success. It's just an experiment. I'm just experimenting. And then because of that, everything that I do becomes feedback. It's not a negative self-reflection on myself of, I am a failure if this thing doesn't go the way that I thought it was going to go. And I told these people that I was going to do X, Y, Z, and then it didn't happen. And then all of a sudden I see myself as a failure and identify as that. No, it's not that. It's just an experiment. I'm experimenting through life. I'm trying these different things. And because of that, you're getting more feedback. You're learning more. And one of my favorite things that I took away from Tom Bilyeu from Impact Theory is he identifies himself as the learner of, I am going through life as an explorer, and I want to learn as much as I possibly can. Because if you have that, it's anti-fragile. It's an anti-fragile self-identity.
You can't lose as an explorer.
You can't lose as that.
exploring.
You can't fail. Exactly. So I
Yeah.
tried this experiment and didn't go well. Awesome. I learned.
Yeah,
I'm
totally.
exploring more.
Can I add on to your point?
Of
Like
course.
I started a few businesses that did fail, but I didn't really I learned a lot through it, right? With the Wim Hof coaching and the dog food, and now even when I look at my own business, I still think of entrepreneurship as adventuring, and we all I feel like as kids we all had a call to go out in the wilderness or something, to adventure. We all have a call to travel and stuff. You can do that in your city, inside your business that you decide to create or whatever. Even if you're still going to school, be more adventurous, talk to new people. There's always something that we can do to have that calling of adventure inside of whatever endeavor we're in. That could be picking up the phone and cold calling some bigger property managers. You have no idea what's going to happen. It's kind of scary. It's like you're hunting. You might land something and it's actually exciting. And that's where I feel like with the culture we built around our painting business too, is we're all just going out and adventuring in uncharted territory to grow this thing. And it's not just mundane, everyday life. So I think a lot of people that don't really know what they want to do or whatever, it's how could you be a little bit more adventurous in your everyday life? Who is that one next person you could talk to? Maybe raise your hand a bit more and share your thoughts. And who cares if someone laughs at you? At the end of the day, it's they don't remember, you're not gonna remember them. Allow yourself to be more adventurous, because I've always wanted to adventure. I just love the idea of exploring. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be in the external nature. It could be literally internally in yourself, internally with your friends, business, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. And Hormozy said something, it kind of sounds satire, but he's at the end of the day, everyone's going to die. So those people who are doubting you, those people who are oh, this guy's not going to win, faith, or not faith, but fate already, they're going to die one day. Yeah. They're not going to exist one day. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's why are you dwelling on the fact what other people think?
Exactly. Right? Exactly. I think my favorite definition of stoicism is basically where you separate life into two buckets. What can I control? What can I not control? And then a stoic will never, ever worry about the things that are out of his control and only focus on the things that I can control. Because so many people just make these fantasies in their mind and they play these stories of things that are completely out of your control. So why are you even worrying about it? You know?
Mm-hmm. What about with Jocko Williams, extreme ownership when complete ownership when he's okay, you gotta be accountable for your actions, right? People probably dwell in their mind that's because of me. I could have done better and the team would have done better, right? How do you separate those two?
I think that's a good way of it's a good question.
What was the question you said again?
How do you separate the fact that you want to be extremely responsible for your actions?
Okay,
right?
so here's I think separating it into two things of because I get what you mean. I just said only focus on the things that you can control and don't worry about the things that you can't control. But he says take extreme accountability, take extreme ownership, even of the things that you can't control. I completely respect that. I think you take the extreme the stoicism aspect. The reason I was making that point is I think a lot of people stress themselves out over no reason. For just imaginary fantasy things that are going on in their mind that may or may not happen. But the extreme ownership, I think it's more of a logical, pragmatic way of approaching life. I went out and I got wet because it rained. Extreme ownership. Obviously, I can't control the rain, but I can control having an umbrella. What's another example?
I know, but can I add?
You go ahead. Yeah.
The question you asked there is, I do think you actually still can control that. Let's say you said your team did this certain thing and they caused this thing that's out of our control. But back to extreme ownership, that actually, if you are leading a team, that is in your control, because you could have given them better training, you could have put them in that situation prior to them going in the situation or foresaw it. So it really is down. And I think that's literally the same thing you're saying is control you can control and let go of the rest. We just control more than I think we give ourselves credit for.
True.
And when we learn from other people's mistakes, we're I could have saw that for that guy. I'm gonna use that now, put it inside of our system for the business. So then if that happens again, at least I can put my foot forward and control it.
Yeah. Is it the idea of being proactive versus reactive almost in a way?
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
100%. 100%. You actually gave me a light bulb moment where it's extreme ownership is looking at the situation closely enough to figuring out what could I have actually controlled to change
it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
How could I?
The 5 no's, right? going back to what you said earlier, it's like,
Oh, what are the reasons that people say
what
no?
are the reasons that they say no?
Totally.
In everything you do in life at that point.
Yeah, that's such a good point. It's like, it's out of my control if they say I need to think it over, or it's out of my control if they say that's just bullshit. No, there are things in your control that you can do along the process to mitigate
Tough
that.
balance.
It's tough
Tough balance.
Yeah, for sure.
But
Honestly.
life is exciting, man. Life is that's the yin and the yang, right? It's
100%.
the.
Can you keep cranking that water bottle?
Dave's gonna go.
Is it bothering you?
It's bothering me. It's hard for me to think.
Oh man,
I'm gonna go take a
Hard-
leak. I'm gonna take a leak quick. But like,
hard for me to think. Eh.
you guys continue.
Funny thing is, you think you fucking me, but you don't fuck me,
That's good, bro.
bro. Thanks, man.
Extreme ownership.
Extreme ownership.
Yeah, bro.
Well, we actually met in a funny way. So I was working on the Wim Hof method. I was sitting in King's library. I'm typing
How
out this
old?
presentation. I think it was 2020. It was right before COVID.
No, so it would have been 2019 because we
Yeah,
did
2019.
Yeah.
And I'm working on this Wim Hof presentation. I had it at Innovation Works. So I was getting ready to go do a thing there. And then Ammar just comes and cold approaches me and starts hitting on me. And I'm joking. But he's like, hey. He's like,
Yeah, because a buddy of mine told me about Justin. I was telling him about the Wim Hof method, and I'm like, bro, I discovered this thing, blah blah blah. And then he's like, oh, Justin. I'm like, who's Justin? And he shows me a picture of him. I'm like, oh, cool. And then I see him randomly in the SLC.
yeah. And I'm working on it. And then he comes in and he's like, yo, are you the Wim Hof guy? And still to this day, my phone, I just saw it the other day. It's like Justin the Wim Hof.
Justin
method.
Wim Hof. That's nice.
And so we started chatting it up. We just hit it off instantly. And that's another thing of adventuring. Like, it took Ammar something in him to go talk to a new person about something. And like, that's where a lot of people, I think, get stuck because they just don't even expand their network. So going back to that, you know, we hung out, had the ice bath at the student house I was staying at, like the freezer. We smoked a little joint, did some breath work. And, you know, can I say that?
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
Okay.
We can wipe it.
Okay.
We can wipe
Go,
it.
bro. Okay, relax. Say whatever.
Oh yeah.
Hit an ice bath, and then it was just like, I remember we were sitting down like on the front porch just talking about like conquering. Like, we were just both super driven. It was before I started the painting business. It was before Ammar started wholesaling. We were both still at school. Then the next year we both dropped out, both went for our dreams.
Yeah.
In a
That's
sense.
awesome.
So it was just, and honestly, when you meet people that have the same mindset, like, you actually just grow exponentially.
Yeah.
And it's just from being adventurous, having those
100%.
conversations.
Yeah.
You push each other. You have these cool conversations. Like, instantly, I remember we were talking about Elliot Halls, and we were talking about how to become a stronger man, like randomly.
Yeah.
And then I remember you were like, bro, this is gold. Like, we need to start a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And like way back in the day.
Yeah.
But it was.
Look at us. Now we're talking on
now
YouTube.
Here we are.
Yeah,
Bro.
there you go.
You
The
know?
world's crazy place, huh?
Crazy, man.
Yeah, the way it makes you think. But no, one thing I want to tell you guys, like, this is a quote. And I want to know whether or not you guys relate to it, or like what you guys have to say about it. You know what I mean? Entrepreneurship is living a few years of your life like most people won't, so that you can spend the rest of your life like most people can't. So can you guys like take us back to moments where you were like, is this worth it or not?
If you have thoughts on that.
Yeah. Well, with any business, the hardest part is the start, especially. And a lot of times, like, the middle ground of like before you really start to scale, like kind of where we're at right now, around like the 3 to 4 million range. Because there's a lot of growth happening and a lot of systems need to be built. That's where a lot of businesses end up failing. Well, actually, 95% of businesses end up failing in the first 5 years, and then 95% of the next 5 too. So it's a very small fraction of business owners that can succeed, and the ones that do succeed are typically the ones that are doing the things that even the other business owners aren't willing to do. It's the knocking on doors, it's the cold calling, it's the excessive amount of recruiting calls. It's like all the output, rather than just thinking, well, I set up an LLC, I set up a corp, now I'm a business owner. It's like, no. Like, you got to do the work. Where that quote says, you know, doing the things most people won't do, so you could do the things most people can't do. I do believe that like the most successful entrepreneurs I see, they just keep doing the things that most people won't do.
Yep.
They just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Like, even Hormozy, like, he's not, yes, he unlocked a thing to do, to like live a life that most people can't live, but it's because he's still doing the things that most people don't do. It's the ones that think, again, when you talk about that mountain peak, they think get to the peak, they think that, okay, I did everything that most people won't do, so now I can live the life. Sitting on a beach, you're just literally decline internally. Like, you need to keep going. And that's what I've learned from talking to tons of guys. They're like, there is no end to this. But so I agree with the first part. The second part is different. And also, like, as I'm getting more into faith and learning more about Christianity and Orthodox, like, I'm studying the lives of the saints. And they also did things that most people would never do, but not for the fact of living a life most people couldn't. They actually almost sacrificed that part of like the glamorous side and just kept doing the things that most people couldn't do for God. So I don't think it's just entrepreneurship. I think it's literally anyone in life. A really good mother does things that maybe some mothers wouldn't do, not to live any type of way, but just because of out of service.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really like the idea of like becoming an entrepreneur so you could be like, you know, driving yachts and all this stuff. Like that's obviously a thing that you could do. I see that as like still culture stuff I would do with my guys in my business to show them like and motivate them. But in my mind, I'm still thinking about how can I set this up better? Like, yeah. So it's interesting quote. I think it's a little bit what's the word? Naive or like
yeah. I get what you mean. I definitely resonate with that. I think the second part of being able to live the way that most people can't is having options. Having options to a lot of people just simply don't have options. They need to go their 9 to 5. They need to rely on their work, on their job or whatever to keep their lifestyle going. But 100%, bro, you're gonna have to do things that most people won't do or are not willing to do and put yourself in those uncomfortable situations. But one of the biggest things, I actually thought of this as you said that from Daniel G, is he was like, why do we say that we're sacrificing everything? Why do we think that sacrificing getting drunk every single weekend or binging Netflix, why is that a sacrifice? It's like if you have dreams, if you have goals, if you have a certain vision of how you want your life to be, then it's not a sacrifice. It's not really a sacrifice. You're actually becoming a better version of yourself and you're becoming a stronger version of yourself. So it's even that frame of sure, these are things that most people won't do, but I also don't want to be like most people. So I have to do the things that most people don't do in the first place, whether it's in health, whether it's in relationships, whether it's in business, whether it's in spirituality. It could be in all of these different industries or not industries, but all these different aspects of life. And
it doesn't even pertain to entrepreneurship again. It's like you could be a salesperson like Jeremy Miner that crushes sales. That's not entrepreneurship until you run entrepreneurship is running your own business and like being a trailblazer. But what about all the guys that work for big companies that are crushing sales, that are killing it? They can also go on trips and do things that, you know, most people can't do. And also, when you're actually an entrepreneur, you're building a business, you can't really even do things most people can do. Like you can't really go take a vacation if you have this thing set up. You can't you can, but you're gonna ruin again what you're trying to build. So I do think maybe it's like a 10-year goal, like a 20-year goal of like really building something that can totally run without you. But nothing, and the more I learn and talk to guys that have huge companies, nothing is just passive. Like you have to feed it. You have to do work. You still have to have those hard conversations. And it's almost always just doing things that most people maybe don't decide to do for that alone. Yeah. And especially going back to what you're saying with how we have a weird idea of sacrifice in entrepreneurship where we think, oh, we got to sacrifice the late nights, the drink. We got to sacrifice hanging out with the boys every night. We got to sacrifice this. Going back to what you're saying, if you have a big dream, you're actually sacrificing what's most important in your dream by doing those things. So it's like you got to choose the sacrifice. It's not even sacrifice, just choose what you want to do.
Yeah. That's huge.
I would rather sacrifice destroying my body and being a degenerate than, you know, go chasing my dreams. It's not even a sacrifice to me. It's like I'm just going to do the thing I want to do.
There's no trade there.
But I just think it's the social norms that keep people in because that's what's glorified is doing those things and enjoying your 20s. Like I can enjoy my 20s while making money 100%, and I'll enjoy my 30s while making money, and I'll enjoy my 40s while I have a family, and I'll enjoy it all. And I'll enjoy it all when I'm broke, and I'll enjoy it no matter what. Go back to gratitude.
100%. I love that, bro. Well, another thing from Tim Ferriss and Chris Williamson, there's no solutions in life. There's only trade-offs. And I think that pertains exactly to what we're saying right now. It's like I'm sacrificing my future dream by being a degenerate or by being lazy or by procrastinating. Yeah. That's the trade-off that you're making. So it's not like there's one size fits all solution. It's you have to decide, what is the life that I want to live? What is my vision? Who do I want to become? What kind of man do I want to become? And then what trade-offs do I need to make to become that man?
Yeah.
And I think it sounds simple, but it's like everything in life. It's simple, but it's not easy.
No, but I like how we're like fading away from sacrifice, right? And more of like a trade-off, right? What was the hardest trade-off that you had to do and you had to do to be this man like you guys are today? What was the hardest trade-off?
It was probably like, especially in the early days, like not watching a lot of Netflix and not doing a lot of like social media. But again, it didn't seem like a trade-off because I was so excited. I was just so excited about it that it wasn't even like I had the temptation, because it was just I already really wanted to do what I wanted to do. I think the biggest probably sacrifice was being willing to go against culture norms to drop out of school, or being willing to ask the questions that some people might not be asking me about politically or how things are going in the world, sacrificing maybe how certain people in the room might think about me if I'm asking those questions. Sacrificing, maybe your ego a little bit in terms of, I wonder what they're thinking or stuff like that. That's probably the biggest sacrifice, because once you step out of that block where you're like, I don't even know fully who I am yet, so I'm going to sacrifice the image I have of myself right now that people might think about me, because I don't know who I am, and they can decide who I am for them, but that doesn't impact me anymore. So if you can step out of that box and sacrifice your old self-image, that's probably the biggest sacrifice, because then you can now look at the whole world through a new lens.
Yeah.
And it pertains to anything, man. Like going back to what you want. Not everyone is going to be a business owner. And a lot of people want to be business owners because it's glorified, but they're not meant to be a business owner. And if everyone was a business owner, businesses wouldn't work. Everyone would be a business owner. Yeah. We need the guys that are painting. We need guys that love the trade. If we're only glamourifying the guys that are making all this money, doing all this stuff, the world won't work. We need guys paving the roads. We need guys building the buildings. And they have their own dream for themselves. And if you can help those people still achieve dreams inside your company, that's true entrepreneurship. So it just goes in all different directions here, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. I think the biggest trade-off was basically sacrificing short-term approval of the people around me for long-term what I actually want to be doing.
Yeah. And the boring work. And sometimes we got to sacrifice. This is a candid thought that's coming to me right now. I think a lot of us might have dreams that could be shaped as self-sabotage in a way where it's like, for instance, I didn't dream of being a painting business owner, but because I found something that was working that could make money, my golden goose, and I went all in on it, it unlocked the opportunities of choice where now I can maybe put more into art and not worry about the bills. But I think a lot of guys, they might think, I just want to be a rapper, or I want to just be this. But they might just be a lofty dream to keep them away from doing some of the real work in the world, so they can keep that dream to carry them along, but they don't really do anything about it. So sometimes you gotta sacrifice maybe big lofty dreams and keep them in your head, but sometimes we use those dreams as an excuse. You gotta look at also the cards you're dealt and make choices right now and have those dreams in mind. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Some guys want to be superstars. A lot of guys want to be superstars, super famous superstars, but you got to do a lot of the boring work, man. You can go back to Justin Waller. He kind of thought about being a YouTube personality, but he's like, until I have at least $1 million net in the bank, I don't even want to talk about courses and this and coaching. Even though it's my dream, I still have to do a bunch of stuff before. And we got to see opportunities and be willing to sacrifice some ego. It's like, I got this painting business opportunity. At first, I thought I was above it because I wanted to be the superstar in some way. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew I was going to be a big superstar. That's what I felt inside me. And a lot of that was just ego of probably being the youngest in my family. And then people are like, oh, you're so cute and stuff growing up. You just feel like you're so loved. You're like, oh, I'm going to do this crazy thing. And I'm so happy my ego allowed myself to look back at the painting business and to take a second to look at this thing. Be like, you know what? I'm going to learn some cool skills here that might pertain to a bigger dream in the future. But I'm going to forget about that dream now and focus on the task at hand, build this thing. And that helped a lot. So I think a lot of us, we have these big dreams that hold us back from finding the small opportunities in our day-to-day because we think they're not worthy of us.
That's where the imposter syndrome comes in, right? If you're not actually doing the nitty gritty and actually doing like what it takes, then that's when you feel like an imposter when you're going to these big rooms.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
And I bet you guys both felt confident going in here. You guys felt like you guys deserved to be there. You at Harmozy and you at Daniel G, you guys felt like you guys...
Well, I still felt imposter syndrome 100%.
Really?
Oh, dude, these guys got 200K followers and this and this and this. And it's like, I built a painting business that's not even doing crazy numbers. Some guys have 20 million, 30 million painting, but I'm not there yet. I have 1,800 followers on Instagram of people that I'm just connect with in my city mostly. So tons of imposter syndrome. However, I do understand my own mind from studying myself and learning how I think and my insecurities. And I can just look at that for what it is. Hey, I feel this way. Probably other guys in the room feel the same way too.
Yes.
And I'll connect with them on those levels because that's where the real human connection has.
Yeah.
So I don't want to over justify trying to act like someone I'm not, because that just even shows more of your insecurities.
Yeah.
I was in the room being like, man, I'm just grateful to be here. Even when I went around, people ask questions. I'm like, first of all, I'm grateful to be here. You guys are super dope. All of you, I'm super excited to learn more about you. And that's it.
Humble, humility.
Appreciation.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Bro,
What about you? Did you
What-
feel any imposter syndrome going to the Daniel G event? Like,
No, like that specific event, it's all people going there to learn, right? We all want to improve ourselves. We all want to get
100%.
better. So I'm like, why? I'm not trying to prove myself to anybody.
Yeah.
I'm just here to soak in the knowledge and do the best that I can. But I'm not going to explain this well, but I heard Tony Robbins one time basically say that imposter syndrome is bullshit and it's just like a made up thing. And that really clicked in my mind where it's like, oh, it's fucking bullshit. I forget why he explained it. So maybe whoever's watching, Google it. Imposter syndrome, Tony Robbins. But I didn't feel that way at all because the frame that I'm going of, because I feel like that comes from feeling like you're inferior for whatever reason. That mentality of like, I'm inferior because I am measuring myself based on these certain metrics. But I don't feel like I really do that. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like for me, it's the frame of, again, being the explorer, being the learner, of I'm just coming to gain knowledge, soak up knowledge, but then also I'm here to share positive vibes. And I'm also, when I'm meeting people, this is how to win friends and influence people, basic, be more interested than interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going with even if the person is worth 20, 30, 40, $50 million, I am more interested in that person and getting to know that person and really understanding them at a core level, as opposed to me trying to prove myself of I am this guy of whatever.
100%.
Right?
And that's a good way to look at imposter syndrome. It's like, whether it's a thing or not, if we do feel that type of way, it's like, hey, how can I use this in the best way possible when I meet high network guys? Well, if I feel inferior, I'm not gonna try to act superior. I'm gonna literally sit there humbly. I'm gonna ask them questions and listen. I've been in rooms where I hear one guy that's saying so much and talking and trying to justify all his accomplishments and talk about all these things. And it's like, typically those are the ones that are actually the lowest in the room anyway. And they're trying to over justify to get respect. Yeah. But like you said, being more interested in people and trying to be interesting, that helps a lot. And if you really look at everyone in the world, they put their pants on the same way for the most part. Yeah. You know, they when they drink too much, they throw up. They look in the mirror sometimes and think, oh, I got to lose some weight. Like we're all the same people. Yeah. It's hard when you over put someone on a pedestal and then you go to meet them and you got these like nerves inside you. That's normal. And I felt that way a lot, and I still feel the way. When I met Hermosi, I'm like, dude, like you know.
Yeah. How was that? Like tell us about that. Like when you first like walked up to Hermosi, met him for the first time.
So actually, we went to the event before, but we didn't really get to fully meet him. We kind of just got to ask questions and talk to him like with a group of people. But when I came in the next one last weekend, I walk in the room and the first person I see is Mosey, and he's like sitting over the table like huffing and puffing. And I thought he was like sick or something. I didn't really know because he was just like by like the coffee stand. I'm like, yo, you good? I think the first thing he said, he's like, yeah, bro, I just hit like a big leg day. I'm like, nice. I'm like, do you want a Zyn? Like I have a pouch. And he's like, no, I'm good right now, but thanks, man. I'm like, do you do them, by the way? He's like, I do mostly the nicotine gum, but I don't discriminate nicotine. And we start talking about that. And it was just human level conversations. Instantly. I'm not like, and then later I'm talking like, dude, you helped me so much. Thank you. Like your content's amazing. But he hears all the time and he knows it's good. He knows his content's good. I don't need to tell him. And then even the same thing with Waller. Like I was just joking around my van's getting stolen. I've heard of stuff. And instead of me being like, yo, I'm your biggest fan, like can I get a photo? You know, it was just, I was talking to Ammar before I went, and I was like actually asking Ammar for help. I was like, how can I put myself in the best position? And he was just saying too, like, just remember you guys are human beings, and you know, we already know that anyway. It's just, you just gotta act that way. Yeah.
I think energy is felt on a subconscious level. Like if I could just be comfortable in my own skin and be as relaxed as I possibly can and not do my best to not put somebody on a pedestal, then it just makes everything so much easier.
And if you're putting in the work, if you're actually putting in the work,
yes.
That just helps you. It doesn't matter the results. Again, going back, it's the inputs that matter. It's not always the end result, because we might train for marathon and not hit it, but you train for it. You know, you went out and signed up and you went. That's already a win in itself. Mm-hmm. Not saying participation ribbons or something that should be had. We still should have winners and stuff because it keeps us competitive and working. But if you go to an event and you're around guys that are doing millions of dollars and you're not, but you're putting in the work that they also put in at some point in their life, you're the same person. They're just it's just time that's different. Yeah. And then you go there to learn from them. Well, how'd you get from this level to this level? Yeah. And now that will allow you to move differently, especially with fitness.
One of the best lessons.
I was literally just about to say that. Go ahead.
I was gonna say one of the best lessons I've learned. One time I went to like this sack wall flooring event. They're like a big like they sell floors and like all tiles and whatever, right? I went to this event I didn't know that like the main head honcho was like this guy, right? And like I had no idea. So I went up to him and started talking to him like, oh, what do you do? What do you do? And like he's looking at me like, how the fuck do you not know what I do? I own everything. I'm the big guy with the money, right? I was talking to him casually, this and this. And then all of a sudden, like at the end of the conversation, he told me, he's like, yeah, like this is me. Like I own everything. I didn't know that, but like I was treating him like a human, right? So all night he's like, Ricardo. Because for the first time he probably felt like I wasn't like, a human was not coming up to him with like so much glamorization.
Trying to take.
Exactly. Like someone just asked him like, hey, how are you? Yeah. What are you doing? And talking to him normally.
Normal, exactly.
Yeah. And so like that was one of the biggest lessons I've learned. It's like you said, don't put people on a pedestal. Right.
Yeah.
Some people actually like it's more memorable when you treat them like a human.
100%. Because most people don't get treated that way.
Exactly, right? They're used to it, the hype.
Yeah, 100%. I was sitting beside a guy that I didn't even know his podcast, but later I was talking to other guys in the room and they're like, yo, by the way, the guy you're sitting beside, he has like 1 million subscribers. He Leon something, I think. I still didn't even check him out too much. I'm gonna look him up. But I'm so glad I didn't know that about him.
Yeah.
I'm so glad. It's like get to look people face to face and talk to him. And I was like, he was kind of quiet. I was just like joking around. I was like, I offered him a pouch too, and he's like, I'm good. But it's like just talking. But if I knew that he was, maybe I would have moved differently. It's just human nature.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's good maybe to not do all the research of like every single person in the room and go in just kind of intuitively and talk to people like people.
Yeah.
And you're going to find that some of the people you might look up to, you might read in person, not really like him anymore. You're like, oh, this guy's kind of full of himself. Like he's not that, like I'd probably move differently if I was at that level. And some people are at a level you don't even understand and they're super giving and interesting. Yeah. So it's just all a shell of the person.
Yeah. He made a great point of fitness, and I feel like when you take care of your body, and this is how we literally first bonded, the Wim Hof method and ice baths and your parasympathetic versus your sympathetic, of understanding your bodily stress response, of if I could just control my breathing, then I could be more calm in those situations. If I take the cold shower in the morning, and that's probably the most stressful event that I'm going to have that day, because there's most likely not going to be a more stressful event than that. And if I can control my breathing during that cold shower, then any interaction that I'm in during the day, I can control my state. So then all of a sudden, I'm going to show up differently. And when you could continuously take, and people say this all the fucking time, and it's so basic, but it's literally just take care of yourself, take care of your health, feel good in your body. When I say feel good in your own skin and feel at ease and comfortable, a lot of that comes with being in shape and feeling like I'm confident with who I am. I'm happy and I'm proud of the person that I've built. And that takes a long time, but it's
a good place for people to start. Like if anyone's listening to this and they're like, I don't know what my big dream is. I feel like I'm stuck in school or I'm stuck in this job. It's okay, but what's your fitness like? And that's what a lot of these guys that are building big businesses, it all starts with fitness. It's like when you have a good body structure and you can have a good posture and you take care of your health and you eat right and you feel good inside, you just already command a different level of respect, and that helps you make the connections even better. Because people admire a good body. It's literally a show of discipline on you. 100%. It's like, wow, this guy's disciplined. You can see it right away. And it's something to strive towards. Like that is the easiest place to start. Not that it's easy to get into good shape. It's hard. That's what makes it valuable. Yeah. But it is like, if we don't know what to do, if you don't know what to do next in business and dreams or whatever, go to the gym. Like seriously, go to the gym, go for a walk in the morning, listen to some podcasts. Like it's a slow burn. You might not think, oh, how is this going to unlock my big money making dream? It's like, but don't even think about that right now. Just think about getting your body in shape as a funnel for your dreams. And then when they do open up, you'll have a way better standing to accomplish them.
Yeah. I remember back when I was in university, like this one athlete told me, he's like, the athletes get hired in those big like firms, those like whether it be like Deloitte or whether it be like a law firm, whatever. My point is like, because right away they know this person is disciplined. This person for 4 years, it's a resume of themselves. It's a resume. It's a resume.
When I was first getting into remote sales, I was interviewing for this one company. I got the offer, but I decided not to go with them and go with something else. One of the interview questions was, have you ever played sports before? Or do you work out on a regular basis? Because he was screening for that.
Yeah.
And he was like, were you in the military? Were you blah, blah, blah? Because you're so right. You are more disciplined. And it shows a level of character that you have that the person who isn't just doesn't have.
Totally. If I had a big lawsuit and I don't know anything about the two lawyers, and one guy comes in, he's filling out his suit, he looks jacked, he's like, good hygiene, sits down, well spoken, look at me in the eye, and then one comes in, he's sloppy, even if they're both on time, but he comes in sloppy, sits down, just like doesn't look like he takes care of himself. It's like if you don't take care of your teeth, if you're not taking care of your face, if you're not taking care of your skin, your body, how are you gonna take care of me, and how am I gonna trust you?
Yeah.
Even if that guy could be the award-winning lawyer, I'll probably choose the other guy face value, because first impressions matter.
100%.
And that will help you unlock the dreams and the network and stuff by taking care of yourself, and the self-confidence to be in the rooms with other guys. Because even if you don't have a big business and you're in a room with a bunch of guys, if you're fit, it's like you're already on a different level than a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because it's discipline, it's hard work.
Yeah, and it's like the Latino doctor, huh? We both know the Latino doctor. I don't want to say his name,
yeah,
but like he comes in fat
Wow.
belly. He comes in with a fucking
doctor.
sweats, and he's telling you like, you know, you got to be healthy. It's like, no, if you see a doctor who's fucking like that, bro,
Totally.
you're not gonna take advice
Look
from
at
him.
like the World Economic
The
Forum and
ministers
like
of
the
health,
World Health
right?
Organization. Like they're all unhealthy.
People,
they all
yeah.
look horrible. It's
Right?
like, why am I listening to you to tell me to get these random needles? Like, and going back to when I played football, I had two types of coaches. I had the one that was kind of really fat, that used to play, that's washed up, that's like telling us to run laps and stuff. And then I have the other one that's in shape and is super aggressive and scary, and I respect him and I want to do it, but it's so hard to get that level of having to try to respect someone that doesn't look like they respect themselves.
Yeah.
And if you are super out of shape and you're a football coach, like I had one that was super out of shape football coach, but he was like the jolly guy. He kind of embodied his own where he was at, and he was like Santa, and it was dope. He was like more soft, like, hey, it's okay, you'll get better on the next one, and you need that too. So if you're super out of shape, just don't go to the gym and just be a jolly Santa. if you want to utilize what you
Moral of
got,
the story.
or if you want to be a killer and you want to garner the respect of people, then you got to get into shape.
Yeah.
So-
It's yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask because there's also another quote. It's like your comfort zone is usually where your dreams die. What do you guys think about that?
I agree.
Me too.
I agree.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's easy to get comfortable. Like that's the easiest thing. Our whole world is based on trying to make us comfortable, so we can rely more on the government for help, so then they can control us, right? So it's like the only way to combat big pharma and
That
these
was
big
deep.
corporations
Yeah.
are if we do the uncomfortable things, and that could be from speaking out in
Facts.
certain times, from building ourselves into someone healthy, so we don't have to rely on them for health advice, we don't have to rely on them for monetary advice, or rely on them to pay our bills or EI and stuff like that. Because if you are ready to take extreme ownership, you will actually that's how we'll break down the unstructured society right now that we're in, with people trying to literally control our lives and like try to make us slaves. I truly believe that's where the world's at.
Yeah.
So the only way out is by taking ownership of your situation, not relying on them anymore, because we know that
sure.
they're not leading us in the right direction anymore.
Bro, they even like I saw your story. They blocked valuetainment.
Yeah.
Well, that's apparently all
Canada.
news. Apparently all news.
They haven't blocked Tucker yet, though. That's what I went to check. We went to check right away.
Okay.
Tucker's
It'll probably be a
not blocked.
slow burn.
But he's
Yeah,
nice.
because
Wow.
even
Though.
PBD podcast is still available. Patrick Bet David is still available, but Valuetainment specifically, it was not.
And
It
why?
would
though?
interest. I would check maybe Fox or CNN.
Fox is ready. Fox is ready. It's been done for a while, actually.
It's blocked.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's like the people that they don't want us to listen to are probably the people we should listen to, because the ones that are like giving us all this advice, and that's what we got to really look at. And I think long form content helps us truly understand someone's motives. Even someone like Elon Musk, people have different interpretations of him. Part of me thinks he could be controlled opposition. He could maybe not have the best, objective for us as humans, but he's like comes across as a certain guy to lead us a certain way. And that's with a lot of stuff in war. And if we read The Art of War, like there is controlled opposition where governments will highlight someone that they put all this hype around them. But why is he not banned versus other people? Why does Take get banned? Okay, he talks about women a certain way. Yeah, but what else does he talk about? What actually is that actually why? Because there's a lot of guys that talk about women bad that are all over the internet. You could find them. But we talked about building strong men, taking care of your family, don't listen to the government, grind, get in good shape, learn how to fight as a man. All those stuff is because society was built upon strong men, especially, and women that complement that, because they're both equally important. But if I do believe they're trying to kill off the masculine essence of men. So then society gets docile. We're more like sheep, and they can lead us to the slaughterhouse, because that's what farmers do. They cut off the balls of the bulls. They turn into steers. They follow along. They can easily manipulate them to eat certain food and do certain things. So then they can have the best meat. And I truly believe that's what's happening on a society level. So it's like taking ownership and really looking at who you're actually listening to. Because I think a lot of celebrities are put in highlight to lead us astray as controlled opposition.
100%.
Yeah. This is why it's never been more important to be an independent thinker and to be a critical thinker and to analyze and question everything that's happening around you, especially what the media machine is telling you, especially what you're hearing as mainstream, et cetera, et cetera. It's never been a more important time to build yourself up, get in shape, get your money right, etc., and be an independent thinker and surround yourself with other people that are critically analyzing what the fuck is going on.
And it's beautiful what's happening. Like the world's waking up, especially like if you go to like Balenciaga and look at all the comments, pedophiles, this. And that's where you can see the most. Like the media will put this thing like, wow, like look at this thing. But they can't always control the comments unless they turn them off. But the comments is where you see what people are actually thinking. Kim Kardashian, all these people, it's like the comments a lot of times tell the truth. And it's good that the people are waking up. Like
it's like they were not expecting this backlash.
Same
like
with the
people,
Trump
you know what I mean?
Trump indictment. If you look at the comments, the main one was like, still voting for Trump button, and I'm like, yes.
Totally. Because it's like, bro, Biden can't even form a sentence.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what the...
Well, they even said that it's just going to incite the other group to like work that much harder to get him in power, because they like it's just showing that they don't want like the Republicans to win because it's Trump. And
there's some cool theories going on that's like everything actually is under control, like in terms of like we think the world's going in this horrible direction, but what I've read, and I'm not saying this is right at all, this is a cool thought, that in order for the whole society to actually see how corrupt these people are, they needed a bit more time in the spotlight so they could show their own motives, right? Because if like everything just got fixed right away and everything's back to normal and whatever, all the stuff they were saying, like with, you know, proper education and taking out the LGBT stuff, you know, whatever, if I can say that. But if that already happened, we wouldn't have seen the impact of it. So it's like we have to actually be able to see it so everyone can wake up collectively. So then we all want to change. Because if a change happens too soon, it's like when your parent disciplines you without really giving you a reason. You're kind of like, why do I have to do that? But if you go down astray a bit and you actually get hurt and you make a mistake and you come home late, you get jumped or something, like now I can see why they were telling me, but good thing they allowed me to live out the consequence. So now I can actually realize what's best for us. I think part of me believes that's what's happening with the world is the higher ups, the guys that are actually in control. If it is good versus evil, it's like, let's let this happen. Maybe it's God. Let this happen so they can see. So then collectively, we actually want to make a change instead of just certain people forcing the change. We don't know why.
Like in order to be very like, quote unquote, like viral,
so bright,
you gotta be on this side of the pod. You gotta let it slide all the way. I get what you're saying. Like you gotta let it go very crazy for people to actually have the balls to speak up. If it doesn't go crazy, people will kind of be in the
middle ground.
And it has to go radically one way for people to be okay. This is fucking enough.
Then everyone together is like, hey, you know, maybe this is a better option. Now that we've seen it play out.
We were talking to April Hutchinson. She's a weightlifter in Canada where she's like a transgender man is now like the number one like woman's weightlifter. And she's fighting against that.
April is also a powerlifter.
Yeah, she's also a powerlifter, right? So she's like combating against that, like, you know, keep women in women's sports, whatever. But it had to get radical. For like people to like grow and speak up and say fuck that.
Or even notice it too, right? Because like unless you see it for yourself, you won't believe it.
Yeah, you got to see it.
You might just think it's like, okay, it's okay. But when you actually see how much damage it's doing, that's when you actually like kind of, what's the word for it? I guess you come up in like anger. It's not the right word.
Well, you do got to get a bit angry.
Like rebel, where you rebel and like stuff like that.
You have to burn yourself on the stove to realize, okay, I shouldn't be fucking touching the stove.
So it seems like that's happening at society level, hopefully, or it's totally fucked and we're all just going down this horrible route. But who knows? Either way, if we take extreme ownership of our situation, that's the only thing we can control. And we can control, hopefully, who we vote for and stuff like that. Maybe not anymore. Who knows if it's all rigged and it's all just bullshit. I believe that could be the case too. Either way, we can learn how to make money online. We can learn how to build businesses, inspire people, and control what's around us. So we can at least protect our family and the loved ones. And if everyone does that, then every family's protected. And that seems like the only way truly out.
And that's the most important thing is like teaching our kids that, right? It's like they always say, like, you can't judge how someone parent by their kids. You got to judge them by their grandkids, right? Because that's how you know whether or not. I've
never heard that before.
Whether or not you duplicated a leader.
Wow.
Right?
Dang. I like that.
And it's true.
That's interesting.
Like I really reflect on life and like people. I'm like, that's actually true.
So I have a question.
Wow, my dad is gonna be looked at as a G, bro.
Let's go.
Hopefully.
So that means your grandpa was a G.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, true.
Facts.
I have a question. Would you guys raise your daughters differently than your sons? And what would you guys 100%. Do? How would it be different?
Yeah, I think both need different like nurturing styles, right? Especially as a woman, at least me personally, because I was raised by women. They need the support, but also too they need to like be able to provide. I've noticed it from my mom, from my aunt, from my grandma. They've always had this like internal feeling that they want to provide something that's either support, love, a home. Even if they have to work, they do, but it's not for them. So if they have nobody to provide for you, that's when you kind of see them dwindle off. And
so how are you raising her though?
Yeah. So how would you? If you have a daughter that's just born, you have a son. What is? Because I think I want to share.
I'd be
on
a lot
this.
harder on my son, straight up.
Okay.
Like, so I'd be a lot harder in the aspect of like giving him like tasks, giving him this more responsibility, almost in a way. Not that I'm not going to give my daughter responsibilities, but for my son, for example, I need him to be more clear of what's going on around the world, so he can lead. Versus my daughter, for her, she just needs to be able to control what's around her and make sure that her system or her home is able for her to be able to flourish, but not only that, but be secure within herself. That nobody can doubt her, because she does provide something to someone. Like, I would love my daughter especially to find somebody that she can take care of. But that's also on the other side. She also has to find someone that would take care of her. Has to be. It's a scale in my eyes. Both have to give each.
How about you?
Yeah, it's tough. I don't know. Ever since I had a little sister, like I feel like my whole mindset changed on that. It's like, I don't know. There's obviously a difference between a male and a female. It's obvious, but whether or not like how I raise them, like I feel like I would support their dreams either way. Like as long as they succeed in what they want to do, right? And like. Yeah, that's a tough question, because like I don't want to raise them differently, because they both have a lot of goals. They can both be very successful, like business people or whatever. But I am very traditional in the sense of like, of course, they both have different roles, right? So I don't know if that affects how I raise them or not.
Interesting. How about you?
Yeah,
I think the love is the same, but it's just interactively given differently. That's at least my opinion.
For sure. I think my daughter will be treated like a princess. I'll put them both in sports, and maybe it'll be a little bit different. I really like what PBD does with his kids, where when they turn 6, they have to read 20 pages a day. So I think that'll be the same across the board. But then my son, so I'll basically treat like the daughter as the mom is in charge of being the role model for her, and that's the main person in charge of it. But then my son, it's like what Andrew Tate always says, of like putting them through challenges, giving them kind of a harder life, toughening them up as much as possible so that they are capable and ready to face the world. If that makes sense. So my daughter will be a princess in my eyes. I'll give her whatever she wants, but I'll still like make sure they develop intellectually and physically. So putting them in sports, making them read books, etc. But then my son, he'll definitely get challenged a lot more on a regular basis.
100%. Yeah, I see the same way. It's like society is going to try to brainwash them a certain way with what they're going to learn in school. So I'm going to also do my part to brainwash them in a certain way at home. And as I'm going to have my morals in the household, like these are the morals that we live by. This is like what our last name, these are the morals of our last name. You know, integrity, these things, discipline, service, etc. My son, I'm going to definitely give him a little bit harder, because I know that like I'm gonna kind of rough him around more. If he wants money, I'll help him set up a lemonade stand. I'm gonna help him set up the systems to make money rather than just giving him money. And then maybe I'll pay a stranger on the street $300. Hey, walk by, give him the $300, so you feel like he earned it, because I'll teach him the lessons. I love what you said about treating your daughter like a princess, because I want her to learn her true value of like, you are, because men and women are different. Men have to build their value over time, especially with like acquiring status, you know, getting into really good shape. Same with women, they get in good shape too. But women have innate value. You could see a beautiful woman working at McDonald's, and a billionaire might approach her and be attracted to her. It doesn't matter where she's working. But for a man, if you're, you know, working at a low end job, it's gonna be hard for like the caliber of woman you want to respect you, especially on surface value. Yeah. So treat my daughter like a princess. So when she is of age to find a man, she already has like, she's like, wow, like I get treated really well. I want to find a provider as well that does the same thing. Yeah. But if I treat her like kind of like shit, or you know, she might adopt that self image. So it's interesting stuff, and I won't know until I have kids. But I do think there's going to be a more rough masculine essence towards my son, and teaching him how to make money rather than giving him money, and teach him how to get in shape rather than trying to, you know, just whatever. Yeah. And then my daughter, it'd be more about treat her like a princess, so she can go and find that. And then the biggest thing is going to be making sure my daughter doesn't turn into a hoe or something. Yeah, right? That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest problem. It's like, and it's like, how do you do that? It's like monitor social media, maybe. Like, I think a lot of times it's gonna be the books you read to them at night. Yeah. You know, about like, this is like about a story of a princess that is like doesn't go with different men, or just like something like that, like try to instill that in them. But it's just a question that came to my mind. I think it's a really interesting topic.
Yeah, and
we're all gonna be
it's about like
self
self-respect too, and like what you said about like her mom, right? Like if you're gonna have a daughter, none of us have daughters, right? So like we can say this, but like you better make sure the mother is like a woman role model.
Yeah,
right. You gotta make sure that like that woman is capable of like teaching that daughter like woman stuff. And as a father, I agree with you. Like open the door for her. You know, make her feel special. Like if a man doesn't do this for you, like he's not worthy of you. Make her feel like entitled in like worthiness. That's 100%, right?
And like what Tate says, like as soon as you do, if you decide to like find a man and sleep with him and marry him, like I'm not gonna keep funding your life. So I'll help you have these cool experiences. But as soon as that happens, like you're not getting more of my money. Yeah. So it's in a way, it's like they're gonna be very more selective on who they choose, because like, can that guy reciprocate what I'm getting right now? If not, I might want to choose a different man. Yeah. And not only monetary, but like nurturing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And like also as like a young boy, like you want to treat him to be like a man. Like, you know, like a man of faith, a man of like God, like someone who's not like falling into like like not being a hoe too.
Yeah, and they might not like it in the moment, and that's the thing. They might not like the way they're getting treated. It's like, oh, why do I gotta go to kung fu class or martial arts? Like, son, don't worry. Like, you'll see at some point. And I think a lot of kids innately do want to be roughhoused and like play around, but it's when we shelter them too much because society tells us to, oh, let them, you know, and then they're gonna turn into that. And then later down life, like, Dad, why didn't you like, you know, why don't you exert that discipline on me? Like when I was young, like I would have been in a different position.
Yeah. Like I remember like riding the bike like with my dad. He's like, okay, like he's on top of the hill, no helmet, nothing. You know, the old school way. He's like, yo, go down. Phew. Man's falling off half the hill, but whatever though. You know what I mean? Like you said, like he builds you, but like he only had one daughter, the youngest one. And I know he would never do that with her.
Yeah.
Oh no.
You know what I mean? No like chance. It's like get the training wheels on, make sure she's safe. But like it's like that's an interesting question. And I feel like, bro, like I fucking hope one day we have the podcast, all of us have kids, and we're like, yo, like this is how we're doing this.
My daughter's some like alpha man.
Guys, it didn't work.
and girls could have a sense of alpha. Like my sister's like super like alpha, like in some senses, but then she's also like very nurturing and feminine. So it's like we all have different sides of us, but in order for a relationship to work, the more I read like books on like the way of the superior man, it's like there is an exchange of energy that usually it's when the man is in his masculine, the woman's in the feminine, where the relationship works the best. And there will be times where it flips. 100%. Like the other night, I came home, I was throwing up, I was sick. Well, I guess my girl was still nurturing me, but she was taking control, helping me out, you know. Anyway,
no, but it's true. It's true. Lead, right? Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's like the man is order and the girl's chaos. And I remember I told my wife that I'm like, yo, the man is order and the woman's chaos. She's like, no, like usually the women are order. Usually the woman's the one who's getting the groceries and doing all that. They're the ones order. I'm like, look at this building being built right now. Look at the cities being built. Who builds those cities and those buildings? Man, that's a lot of fucking order. To be like having those strategies to build the systems, right? And the woman, 80% of consumers, that's a little chaotic. Like you know what I mean? So I kind of gave it that example, but in a respectful way. You need both, like you said. You need both. You need the order and the chaos. And I need you to be feminine so I can like be masculine.
And you need to be masculine so she can be feminine. You give her the space. And there's a lot of ways for guys to be more masculine without having to like be some macho guy. It's like, don't get so defensive if they get mad at you. Like that's the one thing I had to learn. It's like if the more I got defensive, I'm showing like I'm getting triggered in this, and a lot of times it's a shit test. It's like, can this guy handle me being a little bit chaotic? And if you can't, then you're not showing your masculine essence.
Exactly. So
it's interesting, man. There's a lot of this needs to be talked about. They should have a class in grade 1. It's like masculine and feminine, and it's like not even saying like men have to do this, women have to do this. It's like these are the two sides, and I think a lot of young guys will resonate more with the masculine. What are the movies they watch? They watch the superheroes that are crushing it, that are like in shape. Those are the avatars, and it seems like society's trying to kill off those avatars slowly too. Like James Bond's now a woman. You know, like that's like at least they're gonna make it that way because he got killed off, and then the new 007 is some girl. And fair enough. It's like, but there's obviously a strategy of why they're doing this.
And it's like back in like the old school Disney, like when it actually was like, you know, masculine and feminine, like the Little Mermaid, whatever. I was talking to my wife about this the other day. And Frozen, it's like the first like princess who like didn't need a man. And it, like I don't know, it's kind of like
totally
corrupt, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of like you gotta stop portraying that message. And I don't know why it's fading so much, that message. I don't know what the fuck that agenda is.
It's an agenda, that's why.
I think it's to destroy the nuclear family, because if men aren't men, they won't attract a woman, probably a good woman, and then probably won't have kids, and then it's like, because even Bill Gates had something of like how we have to decrease the population. It's like that's a pretty messed up thing to hear. You know?
And they say that like society really changed when like birth control came up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Because then
huge.
women
That's
actually had a
huge.
choice. They're like, okay, I can get pregnant or I can't. When back in the day, bro, like probably like not even like 50 years ago, there was no choice. If you're pregnant, you're pregnant.
Yeah, and then you govern yourself differently.
Exactly.
Like, maybe
Yeah,
I won't
yeah,
sleep with
yeah.
this guy that I
They
just met
said-
on the first date.
They
that
said
has a
with
nice
like the
haircut.
U.S. I guess right now the U.S. has a million. My bad, but the U.S. right now only have 1 million people who are in service. Back in World War II, we had 16 million.
Yeah,
So
now
it's
they're
just
teaching
like-
transgender and
Yeah,
purple hairs. And
Well,
stuff.
it's just
everybody
like-
got drafted.
Well, that's one part, but like that's still
Yeah,
a
yeah.
16th of it, right? So you have to
Fair
also
enough.
remember it's no longer like the patriotism. Like nobody actually wants
It's not,
to.
it's not the same
Because
because
they
not
don't agree with the
everybody-
leader.
They should be
they
proud.
don't
We
go-
look at Russia and you
Yeah,
look at
yeah.
Putin, a lot of guys respect him.
Yeah.
He's Orthodox Christian. He's like has morals, values. He's in good shape. It's
Yeah.
like those are all important, man. You got some this guy that can barely form a
This is
sentence.
off topic, but in Ukraine, yo, when all the transgender guys, when the war happened, they're like, yo, I'm a girl now. I'm a girl. I'm a girl.
Yeah.
None of them wanted to fucking fight in war.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just goes to show like the actual like the difference. You
And
know
there's
what I'm saying?
duties. There's duties and
There's
responsibilities.
duties. There's
Yeah.
fucking duties.
I think a lot of people think, oh, like men have all this stuff and then women are down here. It's like not at all, man. Like women can unlock so much access by just being looking beautiful that men can't. Like men have to go through a lot to get there, and so do women in some way. But it's just interesting that it's like we look at the grass always greener. So some girls, oh, men this, so I'm gonna be a man now. And it's like, okay, well now you're called to do these things. Like, oh, actually no, I'm go pop back over.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
And the thing
take
is-
this dick off me. I'm gonna do it. You know? And that's it's crazy, man. It's like, yeah, just like the permanency of changing genders and how it's so easily accessible for young people. But then tattoos, you got to be 18. It's like that's permanent too. It's like, well, hold on, what's going on here?
Yeah. And you have to respect both genders. Like you have to, like you have to respect and love both genders. Because like if it wasn't for women, we would not be sitting
Not
here.
be here, yeah.
Bro,
Of
Obviously,
course, man,
you know what I mean?
course.
I love women, man.
Women
I
are the
love
most
my girl
beautiful
more than
creatures in the
they're
world,
the
bro.
best, you know.
Yeah.
But if we try to make them into masculine by like empowering them in a not even empowering them, it's actually disempowering a lot when you're telling them to act a certain way and you got to be this, you don't need no man. It's all like you have a gift to have a baby inside you. That is literally insane.
The most
Yeah.
powerful.
And the
thing.
funniest thing is I hear is like, oh, all these guys want hot girls, right? But then once they're actually with the hot girl, they're like, oh, you can't wear that to the club. It's like, well, what the fuck did you
Why'd you
expect?
get with
Like,
that?
why did you
Yeah.
get with like a beautiful woman? You know, like it's not like she's like trying to get other people. It's like you're more insecure about yourself. You know what I mean? Like if you're looking to get an attractive woman, like you gotta just accept that she's an attractive woman. And you gotta be confident in yourself and have that trust in her to like love you. You
Yeah,
know
and
what I
hopefully
mean?
she doesn't wear skimpy stuff. Like I still
Yeah,
like
There's a
You
difference.
still
Like you're
don't
not gonna
wanna
be
do it.
showing everything.
No,
You know what I mean? Though? Like
and that's
some guys
respect.
get really jealous though
Yeah,
when you're
yeah,
just
yeah.
wearing like something that's like not even skimpy.
Yeah, and I like my girl will be like, hey, is it like how does this look like?
Yeah.
And if I don't like the way it looks or whatever, like I'll say something because at least I'll say my point. I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, like wear whatever you want. And it's like, you know, men have boundaries. They protect, they provide, and a lot of women find that attractive if a man can kind of lead them in the right way.
100%.
It's like I think I've heard a quote where it's like, you might want to buy a Lamborghini, but you're not going to leave it unlocked with the keys in it. You're still going to try to protect it. So it's like having a
100%.
really beautiful woman. Like you're not just going to now just leave her unlocked, let her go out super late and walk home alone and all this stuff. It's like you're putting yourself in danger.
Yeah.
And her too.
Yeah. That's the thing, is like a beautiful woman could look beautiful in any outfit. Like you said, like obviously like not skimpy. It's okay, easy now. Like fucking take that shit off. Like you know what I mean? but like she'll be beautiful in any outfit she wears. So it's like you got to be confident as a man to like know that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not like that whole jealousy thing is like kind of like insecurity, right? Like it's like if she's talking to another guy, okay, whatever. She looks really good. It's like
You need to be secure
you gotta
in
be,
yourself.
obviously like you're watching, but like it's like you have to like
Know that
respect
she's not
her
gonna
in a
leave
way
you, yeah.
too, right? Like
And women can raise your status as a man. If you have a girl that doesn't go and talk to all these random guys at the bar and is with you and is like talking up about you, and that helps her as well. Cause like, you know, it's just such a good team.
Yeah.
And
That's it.
Symbiotic almost in a way.
it's a beautiful team.
that's it. Coco's looking for his teammate.
We don't need to talk about that right now.
Get the draft coming soon.
Draft coming soon. Yeah, last time you got in trouble for that.
Yeah.
Well, really? Okay, fair enough.
It's always trouble with Coco over here.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's dope though, bro.
But yeah, no. I want to ask you guys, where do you think you're gonna be within the next 2 years?
I'll probably be in the US, to be honest.
Yeah, doing what?
Something cool. But I'll probably have my E2 visa. Maybe I'll go down to South Carolina. Check out that ratio, see if it's true. We'll see. But definitely my E2 visa within the next 2 years. So if I want to move to the US, I'll have the option. But That's what I think.
2 years. Just keep doing what I'm doing. I think 519 Painters will be probably, it will be in different locations in however way that's going to happen. We've already expanded to like more Bayfield, Grand Bend area, and that worked out well. I think just literally I'll be doing the same thing. It's just like maybe the numbers will just be different.
Yeah.
I'll still be building this community. I really believe that there's a lack of knowledge for contractors out there, and a lot of guys are selling it for, you know, a lot of money. So what I'm doing now is really making it accessible to everyone and having all of our systems and SOPs in it with a strong community. I'm going to really build that community up where if I see certain guys crushing in certain ways, I'm going to put them on the platform to have calls and really build it where everyone can contribute and we can really make something, like we can change the trades. So that's going to be that's like my main focus. And simultaneously, whatever I'm learning in my business I'm building right now, as we expand to 10 mil and bring more guys on and build a really good culture, I'll be giving that in the community. So that's like where I see myself going. It's hard to look in 2 years, man. It really, it is difficult because I think we underestimate.
2 years ago, I don't think we would have known where we'd be right now.
Yeah.
Not at all.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
Not at all.
And a lot of it's like,
It's exciting.
You control.
That's the adventure, man.
Yeah, that's the adventure
of
because
life.
you can control some of it, like where you want to navigate the pinpoint. But then along the way, man, there's gonna be so many different opportunities and connections, and it's kind of learning what to say yes or what to say no to.
Yeah.
And we could be totally in different places, like
100%.
So it's like I don't want to even limit myself, being like this is exactly what I'm gonna do because I don't even know what's best for me yet. I'm still learning as I go, and then God has His own plan where it's like this is actually what's best for you, and you know sometimes that will come in a wrecking force, a bankruptcy or something, and it's like I'm not gonna plan that, but if it happens, like that's probably God willing, and it's gonna put me on a different path. So it's tough to really be like, oh, this is exactly what I'm gonna do. But that's what I'm working towards, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
How about you?
I guess, yeah, kind of along the same lines, like in 2 years, I could definitely see myself like in a better position, quote unquote. But like you said, like it's in God's plan and like how hard I work, right? Like I want to work really hard. I want to really like own like the cleaning in London, Ontario. But like I'm not just gonna be like a cleaning owner. Like as of recently, I've kind of thought about this. It's like, is this really what I'm gonna do for a while? No, I don't want to do that. I know I'm capable of much more. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, let me like build out the systems. Let me kind of like make sure this is self-operating, push it aside. Like what else do I want to do? I'm kind of in like a figure out stage.
Totally.
Right? So it's like in 2 years, fuck it, man. Like I can
Who
be
knows?
anywhere. You know, I can do anything. And I have that confidence in me. But yeah, just as of recently, I'm like, is this it? Nah, like hell no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So kind of like rediscovering myself, and like I know ever since I was a little kid, bro, there's a video of me at 3 years old. I'm gonna be on TV one day, blah, 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 talking all this shit, but like I just know like this isn't it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
But life has a way of figuring what I've been trying to understand, and what I've been starting to understand is life has a way of figuring itself out through you. Because at the end of the day, we didn't create life. Like life created itself. God created life that gave us consciousness to observe its own creation. So it's like I'm just gonna observe the ride, bro. Because instead of me trying to figure out life and put this here and control everything, in a way we can control our certain decisions. Yeah. But a lot of times it's like life is literally figuring itself out through you, and we just gotta ride the line, bro.
Yeah. And the best way to like ride that line is like by aiming like to the highest ideal.
Yeah,
like,
with good morals.
Whatever you believe in, right? Exactly, with good morals. If you can aim to be that person every single day, like life is gonna give you what you deserve, right? So that's like the goal I'm doing. It's just like, yeah, I know I'm gonna do more, and like every day, just like brick by brick, right? Just getting better, being better than the man I was yesterday. And if I can do that, fuck, like 365 days, I'm gonna be a crazy guy.
Totally, it's every day, 100%.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. What about you, Coca?
Honestly, 100%. The one thought that always comes to my mind is like probably moving to the States. I always think about that. It's always been that long time thought, and I wanna make it a reality. Definitely one point is I just won't be in the same spot I'm at right now.
Yeah.
Like that's 100% commitment I made to myself, and if I'm in the States in 2 years, maybe I'm there in a year, but that's definitely gonna be a goal.
Yeah.
90-day fiance, bro.
Nah, I can live it by myself.
Again, love is blind.
I don't need nobody. Remember? American citizen, so I could do it easy by myself.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
That's the rowdiest thing, bro. American citizen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just don't want to leave family, right? If it wasn't for family holding me down, I'd be gone. I'd be gone, but I'm too much of a family guy, so.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, we'll definitely be stronger versions of ourselves.
Yeah, that's a
100%.
For sure.
Yeah. Better shape.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
You know, God willing.
More competent, smarter.
Yeah.
Network more vast.
Yeah.
Bigger
Future's
brains.
bright, boys.
I feel like London still hasn't like remove the cap that we have as a city, but boys, like in 5-10 years, like
Yeah.
it's like people are gonna be like,
London's
fuck.
already massive.
You know what I mean? Like these boys are from
London's-
London. They're doing like we're gonna put this on the map.
Yeah, I
You
think
know,
we're definitely
really-
pioneering, and especially like you literally said, it has a cap. Like yours
Yeah.
is the Uncapped Network. You're
Yeah.
exploring what the city has to offer. You're putting
Yeah.
people on a platform. Yeah, and I think there's gonna be a lot of entrepreneurs and creators and artists that come out of London that someday London will be on the map. Right
Yeah.
now, it's not
Yeah.
really there.
Yeah.
We had a few big guys come out like Shaq. Remember the rapper Shaq?
Yeah. And then
You know?
Shaden Sharp in the NBA, like
Shaden
the
Sharp,
Portland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's just so much more to come.
Yeah.
And
That's it.
you know, tribute to you guys for hosting this, because this is like
Yeah.
what's allowing people to share their
That's
story
awesome.
and motivating more people, and it's what's
Yeah.
gonna help the city expand.
Of course, bro. And like you guys know, like you boys are always welcome on
Yeah,
this.
always.
You know what I mean? You guys are always welcome on this. Like we even
For
have a
sure.
bigger panel with like more like entrepreneurs, because like this is what really like excites like us and like excites like our audience, is like having like these sort of like ideas and mindsets, right? Because like you don't hear this all the time. Like I grew up in London, like I said, I went to high school here and everything, but like I've always thought like, oh, you need to get a 9 to 5. But this is what's people really need to fucking hear, right? Like my 2 younger brothers, none of them went to university and college. Not saying that that's the right or wrong decision, but they're just like, yo, I just want to make money.
Mhm.
I just want to like be the best version I can be. I don't need to rely on like an institution to do that.
Yeah.
Right. So that's fucking important. That's it.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
so, I think we've given like a different outlook on life almost. Because I always thought you have to go to school, you have to do this, you have to play by the book. Now you don't.
Mhm.
You're the master of your destiny. If you don't want to do anything with it, guess what? You're gonna get shit.
Yeah, totally.
Very true.
And I respect the
Okay.
9 to 5, bro. Like we need the 9 to 5.
We
Like
need
if no one doing 9 to 5, man, we're not gonna build a society. Like
Yeah.
like some guys actually sacrifice their dreams potentially because they know that it's the right fit. And those are the guys I respect the most. Like so the guys that work with us, the painters on the tools that are hammering every day, it's like, bro, without that, none of this would even be happening.
Yeah.
So I think giving more light to those guys. I know Justin Waller's the thing is like buy the man a beer. You see a guy in a construction outfit, whatever, like buy it. If he's in front of you in line, buy his things. But yo, thank you so much for what you're doing, because like it's not the most glamorous job, but it's what's keeping this world running. So I think there's a switch needs to be flipped too, and it's like there's nothing wrong with working a 9 to 5. Like
Yeah.
that's how we started, and we decided to expand. But there's also opportunities inside of a 9 to 5 that you don't have to deal with all the extra bullshit and the admin and all the extra organization. Like you can work, make good money, have a good family, have time off. Like, you know, there's no matter what route you take, as long as you're in a place where you believe you should be and you're happy to be there and you have at least some goals inside of that thing. Like I think it's good. It's
That's
blessed.
the thing, is we're all different. Like, right? Like some people are like with the 9 to 5, like the 2 or 3 weeks vacation, like they're actually happy.
Totally, bro.
They have their 2 or 3 kids and they're actually happy, bro. Like, don't we all strive to like want to feel self-fulfilled, right? Like some of us are a little bit different. Some of us want to do a lot more, but like there's nothing wrong with that. Like you said, like if like it's symbiotic, right? Like if I'm giving you a job and you're making your family happy, like I feel fucking happy.
Yeah.
You know what I
Totally,
mean?
bro.
Like,
True,
and that's it.
Yeah, it's a team. You need the players, you need the coaches, you need the assistant coaches, you know, the captains. Like,
Yeah.
you know, but you can't just have a bunch of coaches everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, it would be crazy.
Be nuts. Everyone's drop shipping online. The world is, the buildings are crumbling. There's no one in the streets. We're all just inside. Oh, I'm an entrepreneur. Everyone has their own podcast.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's so interesting to see how things are going. I remember another thing on Waller, like he's like the new life hack at some point is going to be like how to be a plumber. Like
Yeah.
be a plumber.
Everything's gonna switch.
It's gonna switch, man, because like the demand's gonna get so high in the trades and the service industry because everyone else is trying to do the online stuff. Where soon it's like you're gonna make $100K easily as a technician for a business. Where you're probably making more of the owner sometimes.
It's like the bricklayers right
Yeah,
now.
even the
bricklayers are
bricklayers.
coming up.
Yeah, for every 7 that leave, only 1 comes in the trade.
Exactly.
Like that's a business opportunity. If you can find young guys, motivate them, maybe by saying like, you know, bricklaying, this is a boot camp. We're gonna teach you how to work, become men, and you build a bricklaying business with young guys and bring that back in the trades. Like those guys make money. You're gonna make money. So many opportunities, man. And that's what's so exciting. So
Yeah, it's the abundance. You know what I mean? Like you can always be successful in whatever category. Like remember I was talking about the other day. Last night we were talking about it. We're like, he's building like fog machines. I'm like, who the fuck orders this many fog machines where you have to build fog machines every single day?
Fog?
But,
Yeah,
like for the
special
festivals,
effects
right? For like
company.
the like the clubs, festivals. But it's like there's a business for that.
yeah.
Like whatever you want to just put your head to, like you can
Someone's
succeed.
got
There's
it.
abundance in
Yeah.
everything, right?
For
There's
sure.
room for everybody.
For sure.
And you can be the best in the world at that thing. Like if you have a thing, even if it is cleaning, it's like, you know, like there's a lot of people talk about you're going to get punched in certain parts of your business where if you can look at those punches you're getting in the business as like, my competition will probably fold at this point. So if I keep going one more step, I now have way more market share.
Yeah.
So it's like we can look at the problems in our business as 2 ways. One, it's a problem that, you know, this is going to stop us, going to limit us, or this is an obstacle that most people get stopped at. So if I break through it, I'll make way more money in my business.
Yeah.
So it's like, be grateful for the problems. Like, okay, here's another roadblock that I know that Martin down the street, probably in his small painting business, he couldn't handle.
Yeah.
So now it makes me more motivated to handle it, be grateful for the problem, because I'm always at a certain point to be worthy of that problem.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of cool ideas that we could have to shape the way that we think about things. And
Yes.
one of them is like being grateful for the problems, working through it, sticking to, if you find that one thing, stick to it. And at a certain point, you'll be able to build enough of a network and a community around the thing you're doing that then other opportunities will open up. But I think a lot of guys jump and do 10% of 30 things instead of just 100% of one.
Yeah. And like now's the time to double down. Like, you know what I mean? Like the retirement population is gonna just be crazy in like the next 10 years. Like the people who really own those big businesses, it's a turnover period now.
Yeah.
So it's now is the time to really fucking be those people to take over those big contracts, right?
Yeah,
because
bro.
those other people can't.
They can't.
Right? So it's like we're turning over right now. So just do what you gotta fucking do.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Whatever
whatever
service-
opportunity you're in right now, there's whatever vehicle you're in right now, even if it's not the most glamorized thing, like you can make a lot from it because the other competition's thinking about the glamour thing or thinking about the problems they're facing. It's like you stick to one thing no matter what it is. Building Crocs, bro. You're gonna make a bunch of you know, whatever it is, bro. Like you said, any business. There has to be someone running that business, and there will be someone that's the best at it in the world.
Yeah.
So
That could be you.
Could be anything.
Facts. Damn, boys. But yeah, like
It's hot in here.
Is there anything else? I guess you guys want to just like
We
get
can
off
wrap
your
it up.
chest or let the people know.
Any plugins, anything?
If you're looking to work with a group of really strong, hungry guys that want to build something incredible in this world, 519 Painters is always hiring. We're literally always look for people that are great, people that are not great. We let them go. We're trying to build a team of great people. And we don't see great as like skill set. We see great as coachability, having dreams and visions. And our role as running this company is finding guys that maybe don't know what they want to do with their life and teaching the skills of entrepreneurship so they can accelerate inside the company. Maybe you stay and you decide to keep growing with us as we conquer the world, or you go do your own thing and do the same thing that we're doing too. So huge opportunity to come work with 519 Painters, especially. And if you're into mindset or anything like that, we're all about it. So
Dope.
Beautiful. If you want to learn or want to start investing in real estate in the US, whether it's high cash flow, cheap purchase price properties, or you want to leverage the capital that you have with big land deals, then ammar.elm on Instagram. Reach out to me, and the future is very bright.
very bright.
Let's go.
Beautiful.
Excited,
Thank you,
man.
boys. Yo.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
thanks for having us.
Yeah, and for all you guys who stay tuned and watch, like thank you guys as well. And like obviously this is not the last time you guys are gonna be on.
No.
Yeah,
Like this
100%.
is like a reoccurring thing, you know, because like we love to see you boys grow. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It gives like honestly like the whole city motivation and us as well, right? So appreciate you boys.
And we're getting more team workouts
Appreciate
going.
you,
If someone's
man.
watching this, want to get into fitness, want some more of a community, I know you're
Yes.
you're always about fitness
Yeah.
with you guys. We went on a 10K the other day.
Holy
so like,
fuck,
you
bro.
guys want to come on a run or do something, just reach out. Like this is like what it's all about.
You're a
We gotta find-
monster for that, eh? Justin, bro, you
Bro,
popped out
sorry,
of nowhere.
yeah.
You're like, yo, it's easy. You're like, I'm feeling better every step. Yo, I'm like, fuck, I'm surrounded by dogs.
Yeah.
Dogs. Yeah. But no, I appreciate that. Yeah. But that's it. Yeah.
Cool.
We'll chop it
Yeah.
up.
Peace.